Hello, Legionnaires, and welcome to episode 166 of RPG Digest. Yes, it is the final RPG Digest episode of 2023. I am John Maxley-Ashlow, your favorite curmudgeon, critic, and judge. Along with me today are the lesser-known 5th and 6th Ninja Turtles, Lorenzo and Giovanni. How are you guys doing today?
That's pretty funny.
I actually had to look up Middle Ages. I looked up Renaissance artists just to get two more names. So there's actual work that went into that.
Wow, that's couldn't even tell.
So how you guys feel making it to 1 million? Are you rolling?
You say 2 million? No.
Well, again, I've got pressure on me because after what I said to Gaming with ADHD yesterday, people were like, well, if you don't make them 2 million, then you're a failure. I'm like, yeah, I will be.
That's right.
So,
Yeah, luckily, the timing was better for you. It already happened. It's cool. It's really cool to see. It's very exciting.
We are thrilled.
We're super thrilled. And the intangibles, just numbers like that, the coverage, the publicity. And people ask, why do you do a Kickstarter? This is why, we're being, featured in Forbes and Screen Rant and comicbook.com and some other MSNBC and, so a lot of cool places. And that's really big for Palladium. Yeah. As Kevin's mentioned before, there's some people who think that Palladium's been gone, right? Or hasn't been around, and we're not back. We're still here, but we are
never left.
Yeah, but we are back better than ever, right? So, and this is the
and thanks to you guys.
Thank you
to everyone who supported this or plans to support this.
Well, and to people who've on our team too. Kevin Eastman, Peter Laird, Sophie Campbell, Christopher Landauer, who's been invaluable helping us to shepherd this Kickstarter. And the ad campaign and all marketing and stuff that all goes behind it. He's put in a lot of very valuable work. So big shout out to Chris Landauer for that as well. And everyone who's boosted the signal, from our friends at Pinnacle Entertainment to my buddy at Star Anvil Studios, Brandon Verhalen. And there's, I could keep going for a while.
Yeah,
there's a lot of our good
names.
friends. My buddy John.
I personally was really happy. I don't know the guy at all, but I was really happy to see that you hit a really big channel with Nerdrotic. So that
was awesome to go on his podcast, and then like the Ninja Turtles Power Hour. Mm-hmm. A lot of the Ninja Turtles podcasts, these guys haven't even played an RPG before, so we're kind of excited about that too. See if we can drag them in, because
and that's the thing is, when I originally did the game, it appealed to comic book fans as much as gamers. That's why you keep hearing from people who say, "Oh, my first RPG was tMNT," because they walked into their comic book shop, saw a book that was filled with Eastman and Laird art, and said, "What the hell is this?" And they bought it, and they went home and read it, and half of them went, "Wow, I'm going to try this as a game," and loved it. And we were in comic book shops for almost 2 decades because of that. So,
all righty. Well, before we jump into the meat and really show off the Kickstarter again, and have some questions about the Kickstarter, let me go through the stuff I have to do. My branding. That's the word I should use for this from now on. So where's my thank? Oh, did I delete my thank you slide? No thank you for anybody. Really? I did. I deleted my thank you slide. Oh, nope, there it is. I changed it. Whew. All right, well, I want to thank all of the wonderful people out there who support us monetarily. Crafty, I'll get your comment in a moment here. Your gracious donations help provide giveaways like the 2 we're going to have today. Thank you, Flady. I see you over there on Rumble. Produce more content and generally give back to Legion Myth community as a whole. We are just a smidgen away from 5,000 YouTube subscribers, and we are thankful for each and every one of you. And of course, as many of you know by now, I'm at 5,000 subscribers. I have a fairly big, here, have Max's crap giveaway, as well as some gift cards for our international viewers. It's 20 giveaways right now, and it might bump up to 25. My entire unboxing desk, you can't see me moving my arms, but I'm doing it anyway, is full of the gaming books that I'm going to be giving away. So, it's going to be epic, used but epic. And check the description below for the links to various Legionist sites, social media, Discord, merch, etc. And I'm going to play for the first time ever our new 2024 video that won't be played until 2024 after this for all the other stuff. We welcome all people, regardless of background, belief, or identity, to play tabletop role-playing games. Let's engage our imaginations, pull a veil over reality, and immerse ourselves in fantastic worlds. Don't be a disruption at the table, and always remember, it's just a game. The charity we support is the Wounded Warrior Project, a national, nonpartisan organization whose mission is to honor and empower wounded warriors. Please refer to the description below for the link to where you can make your, hopefully, tax-deductible donation. Join us Thursday and Saturday evenings on twitch.tv/Legion of Myth to watch Heathen Dog and his team of dirty casuals play multiplayer games for your mockery and enjoyment. Here on our YouTube channel, you can watch these game-related segments live every Sunday at 1 p.m. Central Time, or check out the Friday night stream where our panel of guests opine, comment, and editorialize on the TTRPG hobby as a whole. Please leave us a comment with your thoughts and experiences. If you enjoy our gaming content, please be sure to subscribe to Legion of Myth. All right. Notice it no longer says subscribe or whatever it was doing in the background there with how it edited my audio. So yeah, that annoyed me for months with that old video. So there you go. That's a sneak peek into 2024. Of course, we still have our favorite subscribe button. All right. So let me get this Kickstarter up and let's Scrooge McDuck our way into $1 million here. There it is. Share the screen again. Go away. Full screen. It's almost like I'm not prepared here. And boom. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. I'm jealous. You can make that check payable to Legion of Myth LLC. Oh, I learned yesterday which one of you two is my actual friend. Thank you.
What?
My wife is going to divorce me over this Kickstarter, and Kevin's like, yeah, I'll show up. You just have to fund my way. Sean's like, that's you, buddy. That's you.
I just don't get between men and their wives. That's all.
Fair.
Lesson I learned a long time ago.
Yeah, that's something we can do for the Kickstarter. If you need a letter from me explaining to your wife why you needed to spend all this money on these wonderful products, I'm happy to do so.
There we go. Well, hopefully the unboxing video does well enough to justify that. Oh, well, I don't care about the comments. Oh, why am I on the comments page? Campaign. There we go. All right. So once again, and to be fair, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but Sean can yell at me later. I've seen a little bit of the background of this. And guys, It looks fantastic.
Yeah, actually, we could show it off here on the show if you want to later.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, right now would be a great time because right now I would like to focus on the Kickstarter now. So if there's anything new to talk about or to add, I just want to show folks what the levels are.
We got an update that it's the weekend and it's a long holiday weekend, right? Yeah. And so our liaison at Nickelodeon has been kind enough to be getting back to us every bit, and that's above and beyond the Call of Duty, right?
So that's about to be revealed.
Yeah, we have an update going out that, well, it's not the final painting, but it's Kevin Eastman's color sketch for the painting.
I joked last week that I think it'd be funny if this was just the cover. There you go.
And cool thing on this, we have a photo, but it's like, when you just take a photo of something that's kind of like a little off kilter. We have a photo of from Peter Laird. He finished inking the second cover, because for the two foil covers, Kevin Eastman did the pencils and Peter Laird did the inks. So it's really cool to have them collaborating again together for this. And but we're awaiting the final scan, and then I can create the mock-ups that'll look just like with the Titan Robotics foil cover. I mean, it looked virtually like what you're going to receive when the book is done printing, right? So hopefully we'll be able to update that in the next couple of days. But there is an update with that coming, and also a bunch of the interior page spreads that have been approved to show off. So. Excellent.
I've been reading the comments. I think people are getting a little antsy towards the end of this. Like, we need to see something. So that'll be awesome to be out there. And you also said that you added a whole ton of people to the creator tribute list. And
yes, I don't know if we updated it in the Kickstarter page yet, but
no,
we did it.
well, at least I saw it on the weekly updates from your website.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so again, when we do an update that's just like an update, right, an official update, or if we update the core text of the campaign page, that all has to go through approvals. So, some of this stuff, everybody's been out for the holidays, so just appreciate everyone's patience on that. But yeah, you can go check that out. If you go to the most recent update, it's a really great list of names, and we have. And that update also included all these new milestones, these new stretch goals that we announced, plus the stretch goal that we basically gave away because we announced it, and then I don't know, minutes before, minutes after, crossed the $900,000 line. So, which is the new card deck, 52 card deck, poker deck, and it's illustrated. It's with illustrations from the RPG. So.
I love those covers.
Yeah.
And I like how each set of covers has a different kind of feel to it. Like, to me, this is the gritty one, and I go for gritty, so that's mine.
Jeremy Colwell is so talented, he came out. I mean, it's so interesting because it's the same line art, right? By Freddie Williams for both of those covers, and Mike Majestic did a bang up job that is an awesome homage to the original RPG cover. But then Jeremy Colwell, just doing his thing, came in with something just brooding and strong and visceral. And then you can see a preview here of the tribute, four of the tribute.
Yeah.
Who did this third one?
That's Freddie Williams.
Freddie Williams and Jeremy Colwell's inks.
In colors.
I think I made a comment to you guys saying this is my new best friend. I love this one. There's something about it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. So from left to right, that's Stephen Cummings.
Okay.
Yep.
And these are going to all be colored.
Yeah.
But we're showing off stuff in progress.
Yep.
So we've got Stephen Cummings, then we've got David Peterson, who does Mouse Guard.
Oh, that looks very Mouse Guardy. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And the full thing is really cool.
Oh my gosh.
Because these are just a sliver, right? And then there's a Freddie Williams tribute with colors by Jeremy Colwell. And then on the right is Vincenzo Federici. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I said that right.
You got the dice. And then how big is this dice tray? Do you know?
About yay big, if I remember correctly. So we used them at Gen Con.
Yeah. It's like their standard, whatever fan roll standard dice tray is.
Okay, not right. Because somebody asked me the question.
10 by 10, 12 by 12.
You could look on the fan roll website to see. I didn't even think about listing.
Same thing as the tower. It's like
it's their standard tower.
8 or 10.
6 to 8.
Okay. Somebody sent me a message saying that they look small and that I should ask you. I'm like, I don't think so, but okay, I'll ask.
No, they're. When we've seen them, we've seen people use them. I mean, they're real good. They feel great. So
could have sworn I saw names in here.
The rolling mat looks really big in that image just because it's so wide. But yeah, it's it's a mat like I think about this big around.
Okay, I'm not finding the names anymore. I just got to the bottom. Either.
Oh.
I know they were listed. It was a long list of names.
Well, if you go into the Kickstarter and you go to the update number 4, you can see it.
Okay. Update number 4.
I think it's 4 or 5. I think it's 4. It might be 5. I don't know anymore.
Nope, not that one.
The last one was.
Oop, there we go. Milestones. There we go. I knew I saw the list of names somewhere. Look at this crazy list of names, folks.
Oh, we're right now. See.
I'm not
we're
sharing.
still looking at the weekly update. Not.
There we go. My
There
fault. I forgot to move it over.
Yeah,
again, it's not like I'm a professional here. There we go. But look at all these names on here. Now, I told them before the stream, and some of the people who follow my channel already know this story, but I have Larry Elmore. First of all, my favorite second edition AD&D artist. Don't get me wrong. I love Parkinson. I love Caldwell. Easley was great as well. I love those core 4 artists because AD&D second edition was my core game for many years. But Larry Elmore's always stood out to me partially because of Dragonlance. Well, I met him at Gen Con in 2004, and I bought this painting that you see behind me. Well, when I moved to Germany in 2010, the movers wrapped it in felt. It's an oil painting where the glossy sealant over it was put on too heavy. And if I were to put this up to the camera, you will see felt stains across that entire painting. And I was angry just because that's a numbered signed copy.
Yeah.
So I was angry. Well, I saw Larry Elmore at Gen Con in 2011, and I told him about it, and he told me, yeah, it was a bad. People who did the sealant on it did too much. Yeah, it's a known issue. He said he'd hook me up and give me another one. I was like, dude, that is amazing. How much do I owe you? He said, just I'll send you another one. Well, it never happened, and I'm just not the type of person to beat down somebody's door to be like, where's my painting? Where's my painting? Where's my painting?
Yeah.
Well, I went back to Gen Con in 2015. And I talked to him. I said, hey, I don't want to be a jerk. I'm just asking because I really love that painting. And he said, look, you need to beat down my door. You need to keep telling me over and over again. He's like, I really want to get this to you. And he did. I have him still in the roll, but he gave me 3 paintings to replace that one. All of them are awesome. So Larry Elmore is absolutely a stand-up guy. Thank you, Larry. You're one of the best. So.
Well, I have it on 2 people's good authority now. Because Kevin really likes him.
Yeah. Larry is the best. He's a sweetheart. And, great artist.
Who's this guy?
I don't know. Some schmo. We decided to kind of slip in.
So, and the list continues to grow. And the funny thing, I know you guys hate the idea of like, oh my God, we might forget somebody, but that list is incredibly long. Have you had to tell somebody sorry, but we're kind of full up right now?
Not yet.
That's excellent.
In fact, I've got like 6 or 7 folks I need to reach out to who have expressed interest. And I've been so busy. Hopefully they don't feel dissed because I need to reach out and say, hey, of course we want you to do art, please.
Yeah, one of those is Mike Bro. So,
you mean Wayne Bro?
Wayne Bro. Sorry, I had a professor named Mike Bro, but Wayne Bro. Because I reached out to him and I was like, at the time we hadn't signed the contract yet, so I couldn't really tell him over text, especially what was going on. And we just kept missing each other, being like, oh, maybe on Wednesday. Oh, and then I forgot, or I worked late, or you know what I mean? And, Wayne Bro is one of those guys that we definitely are going to be reaching out to shortly, and hopefully he has the time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really, and it's just cool to see everybody kind of coming out of the woodwork.
Well, didn't you say there was so much excitement out there that somebody like Sophie Campbell, she got she's kind of like inundated herself, like, oh, I might not be able to finish all this.
Well, yeah, with Sophie, she was super excited, and we didn't know. For people that are not familiar with Sophie's work, she's currently writing and just about to finish up her run on the IDW tMNT comics.
Yeah.
We didn't know she's a huge Palladium fan. She discovered the Turtles through the RPG, and she runs a weekly Heroes Unlimited game. She has an encyclopedic knowledge of the mutant animals, and we were like, hey, we were talking to our liaison, our Nickelodeon liaison. We were like, hey, what do you think? We want to add some new mutant animals that haven't been in any of our games before. And he was like, why don't we rope in Sophie? She's super stoked about all this stuff. And we did, cool. And she immediately responded.
Yeah, Sean and I are going, what about this one? I don't know. We might have done that.
And I was double checking, after the bomb
like 5
to make
minutes
sure.
After we emailed
there was she knew off the top of her head, this, and this. And we're like, whoa, that's pretty good.
That's awesome.
So it just shows
passion for the product. That is amazing.
Yes. And so, and if you go read the comics, she has a bunch of there's a rock band called After the Bomb,
mm-hmm.
right? So there's all these different allusions to Palladium tMNT.
Yeah.
But no, she's been super stoked. She insisted on doing a variant cover. So she did the variant cover, the really cool one with I just love the expressions on all the turtles' faces in that art.
Yeah.
For the Transdimensional Adventures book, and she loves Jim Lawson stuff, so she was really excited to do the color work on that. Unfortunately, she's with all her other commitments, and she's doing, besides the variant cover, she's also helping us with an introductory adventure that she's co-writing with Kevin, and she's doing 2 full color tribute pieces, one for each book. So she was like, I don't know if I can actually ink all the stuff that Lawson did for transdimensional TMNT.
Yeah.
So that we got in touch with Luis Antonio Delgado. So, he kind of knows what he's doing because he did the colors for Last Ronin. He's awesome.
The guy's a color god, right?
He makes it. It's weird. That's why I said I was looking at his stuff and I'm like, what is it? And I said, you know what? He makes it look easy. He makes really expert color work look easy. It's really fascinating to review his color work. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, like Sophie's one of the perfect example of one of the people that just. And most of the artists have been like that because a lot of them are so busy. Like Stephen Cummings, he was like, I have a break right now between doing Marvel Star Wars comics. Yeah. I can do a piece for you right now. And he did. And, and that's...
Well, and then Delgado jumped in to also color the Truck and Turtles for us. And just everyone's been amazing. Yeah. Mike Ruth is doing 2 tribute pages, 1 for each book. So is Freddie Williams. These folks are just so excited, just be part of it, and so are we. And
yeah,
that's what I mean. These books are going to be truly special and unique. I mean, all this art is brand new.
Well, like I've said multiple times, and I'm not saying this to brag, I'm saying this to show interest, is that I've backed this with 2 accounts. I have dumped way more money into this than I should have. My wife is probably listening, so she's not going to hear the number. But let's just say that I will be receiving multiples of every cover. So, because I definitely agree with the whole collector side of it. And even without seeing this first one here from Sophie or seeing the ones from Eastman Laird, I don't care. I don't care. Like I'm going to want that. Someday I'll probably say, you know what? I'll never get rid of this one. But until then, these are all going to fill up. I'm making space down there just for...
Well, they're going to be instant collector's items because they truly are Kickstarter exclusives. And that's the one thing is I know this is not my first rodeo. I've done a lot of Kickstarters, and I know that those exclusive stuff afterwards, people talk about it and they wish they'd gotten in on it. They wish they'd heard about it. They wish they'd had the cash or whatever. Right. And I'm just like, put in $1 now. Even if you have to wait till early next year, that's fine. But just get in, or tell your buddy that is interested in the Turtles, or you just know at one point was interested in the Turtles. Because some people will be like, they don't even know that their friends got out of gaming and then got back into gaming, right? So tell your old buddies and let people know, because I mean it really is something special that when this Kickstarter ends in 2 days, it's locked.
Well, right? and I am a comic book collector. I have a huge collection, and just as a comic book collector, if I wasn't the guy publishing this stuff, I mean, this is all I would be going nuts over this right now. And like you, I'd be buying at least 2 copies of everything because I'm a crazy collector, and I know it's going to be worth more money, and I know I'm going to want 1 of each for myself in my collection.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, it's just going to be beautiful. And because of our background, because we're fans of this as much as the backers, we know what people want. And we're trying to create the most beautiful, sturdy, quality products that we know if we bought them, we would love and own for a long, long time.
Yeah. And one of the things I'll say is maybe I know that Palladium fans, when I first joined, everybody's like, who's this Sean guy, right? And that's cool. And you were too. Who is it?
Who the hell?
Wait, Kevin?
Where do you find this guy?
Kevin? But the funny thing is, I mean, I started when I worked in the with Pinnacle on the Savage Rifts material. I mean, I was from the beginning working on full color books like this, right? So this isn't like my first rodeo on this level either, right? And Kevin has been excited and kind of like waiting to do this until the time was right for quite a while. So he's had a lot of it was it was his idea to go full color, right, with the reissue. And so as soon as I was like, really? And then he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, that would be super cool. It's obviously a lot more work, because the remaster itself process is very time consuming, and then getting the right colorists in line and top quality colorists isn't easy, right? But we've gotten some great people on board, and it's just kind of all shining through when you see the books and all the other add-ons. And again, people say, well, some of this is new for you, or you haven't been able to do XYZ in the past, and it's like, well, we're working with really top quality people. And personally, I mean, I am new to the industry compared to Kevin, and I just joined Palladium a couple of years ago. I've been in the industry about 5 years now. But yeah, we're working with top professionals from everywhere, from the miniature sculpting to fan roll with the dice and the dice bags and accessories, to the printers that we're working with. So it's really exciting stuff.
Well, and as you're doing a scroll, those images everyone is seeing, that color work, that is what's going into the book. Those are all illustrations from the book.
Let me write back. I'm going to email you something, Max, and we can all look at it together.
All right, sounds good. So while he's doing that, if you don't mind, I would like to actually show the backer levels for people. So for anybody who's like on the fence still, again, Sean already said it, you can do $1. And I have this question. Actually, you know what I should do? This came in a long time ago. Crafty is now a member for 35 months. Thank you very much, Crafty. Cannot watch live for reasons, but enjoy the interview and enjoy the show. Game on! Congrats, Sean and Kevin, on the Kickstarter success. It is great to see it. Yep, I agree with him completely. And thank you, Crafty, for being a member. And Malachi says, welcome back, Kevin and Sean. Thank you. And then Full Metal Dragon had this question. I think we can answer that right now. Will this Kickstarter have a pledge manager so we can add more money to it later?
Yes, absolutely. We'll be using BackerKit as a pledge manager, and you'll have at least 2 months, probably through the end of January, maybe into February, to make all of your selections and choices and add-ons and whatever you need to do. So, yes.
I know I did this earlier, so I know it can be done. There we go. So, old school fan. What? Oh, this is from my... This is not good. If my wife's watching, she's not going to see the big number. But old school fan, black, white, and red core. That's what I backed, through the Legion of Myth account. And all of these books, basically, I already went to the backer kit or to the add-ons and just added one of each, every cover that I possibly could add on there. So it came out to a lot more than that. But if you want to start off there you go, black, white, and red. But let's, where's the first available rewards? Let's start at the beginning. There we go. Foot Soldier. Now these are just PDFs, right? No, you're not doing PDFs. These are
there are no PDFs.
Yeah, in fact, that's going to be a question I ask you in a little bit, because people keep asking me. So this is just the one book. Right? Just the core. Okay, the core book. That's right. And then the Mutant Nomad for $60. Now that's the core book, but it's a variant cover.
It's the variant cover. That's that, and that would be Kevin Eastman's variant cover.
Oh, Kevin Eastman's. Okay.
Yeah.
Because his variant cover is for the first book.
Yeah. And
Sophie's
is for the Trans D collection. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The Ninja Warrior core. Now that's gonna be both books, correct?
Right. Both of the basic core books. Yep.
Now, is that basic cover? I say basic like it's like the basic. No, but it's actually a really good cover. Is that going to be the one that goes in perpetuity, or is that?
Yeah, that's the one that's going to be available at your local gaming shop. Now, I will say, just so people know, this is a special price. So this is discounted from what you're going to see on store shelves by a bit. So this is besides getting in early. You're getting in at a great price that we couldn't do without the Kickstarter.
And I've heard you guys say it, so I don't know if you have to repeat it. You probably roll your eyes if you do, but I've heard it from Free League. I've heard it from you. I've heard it from the indie creators that I know, and everybody's like, you don't understand in the last 2 to 3 years what book and paper prices are now.
It's insane. We have done, again, we've thought about it before, but we have bent over backwards, and we are doing our very best to hold the line. Yeah. And, there have been some small price increases, but we have not gone the way of a lot of our the big gorillas in the gaming China shop, right? There's an industry article that just came out. Paizo is increasing. So these two books are 256-page full-color hardcover, right? Paizo is increasing the price of their 256-page full-color hardcovers to $70 starting in 2024. And I think that they're still going to keep the core book prices a little lower, but I mean, that's, we're all subject to the same market forces, so we really are doing our best to hold that line for you guys. And when I say, I mean, we're subject to the same stressors, right? The other thing that I think people don't understand is the number of books you print at once is huge on getting better prices per book, and therefore making that book more profitable, or even profitable to begin with in some cases.
And it's not just paper. I mean, during the pandemic, paper prices went through the roof. I mean, every quarter it would go up 20%, and
labor prices
and sometimes it'd go up another 10% in between. And then the other problem has been shipping. Shipping costs have just gone sky high.
Well, and just the cost of labor, the cost of doing business, right? Yeah. Energy costs, everything's gone up. Nothing's gone down. Nothing. Yeah, except for our bank accounts,
it's been
right?
Crazy times.
Yeah, Sean got an earful of that from the Canadian.
Who eventually explained how it was his government that was taxing him. Yeah, that's what I said, isn't it? It's not us doing it; it's your own government. I can't control the Canadian government taxing you,
or what the shipping companies charge, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, that has been going up too, but I mean.
Oh, there we go. 2 items included: tMNT, Other Strangeness Redux Edition, and Transdimensional Adventures Redux Edition, and of course the add-ons. Let's scroll down to the next one, because we'll talk about the add-ons in just a moment. Yeah, Mutanimal. Did I say that right? Warrior variant covers core. So what is that one? Because that's 120.
So that would be Kevin Eastman's variant cover and Sophie Campbell's variant cover for the second book.
Okay.
Right. It's the first and second book, but with variant covers. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, let's, I'm going to skip the retailer. Well, we might have a retailer on here. These are just kind of discounted books so that they can sell them at a decent value there, but they get multiple copies, like 4, right?
Yep.
I believe 6.
6, okay.
I think it's 6.
But they have to be a retailer, and they have to prove
you have to be a retailer, and that's, we're not screwing around on that, just to be clear and to be straight shooters. I mean, I'm not messing for you to save a few bucks. I'm not lying to Paramount, so don't ask.
And to be fair,
people keep asking. I'm like, yeah, I have people. Really? People private message me on Facebook. Do I really have to be a retailer? Yes.
Okay. I don't do a lot of Kickstarters.
If you have a real shop, if you have a real place where you're selling books, that's all that's required. You don't have to jump through any other crazy hoops, but we have to be able to verify you have a legitimate business that retails books. Otherwise, it would be illegal for us to give you, the wholesale price, by contract. And I'm not screwing around on that contract, man.
Oh God, no. And this is not a new feature to Kickstarter. I've seen this with many things, comics that I've backed, other books.
Just so people also understand, I mean, and anyone who knows a friendly local game store owner or owns a friendly local game store, by the way, this is something that we really impressed upon our licensors. This is really important for us to be able to provide this, right? So that's one of the great things here is that we have this, and we have another one, a grand retailer level, so that you can get in on the exclusive stuff. So you can get in early, or you can get in on even on the exclusive stuff. So we are doing our best to make sure that they aren't locked out or left out in the cold with kind of the hype that surrounds a Kickstarter, because I know that can be really exciting. And yeah, if you think that people in your store like turtles and might be interested in getting stuff because I think a lot of collectors are going to want to get this whether they play the games or not. Yeah. Because this is a lot of Eastman and Laird and beautiful art by the same colorists and artists that have worked on a lot of their comics and other comics are all involved in this. And then the tributes and stuff. I mean, this is coffee table level stuff for a lot of people too. So I think that that's something that we want to make sure we weren't going to leave anybody out on that front. So and that took effort and that took negotiation. So just hopefully people will understand that we do have your interests at heart, and we are we're trying to be good publisher and be your ally.
For those who sent me messages saying that this is a scam and so forth, I want to reiterate one more time. I don't back a lot of Kickstarters, but I'd say at least 50% of the Kickstarters I have backed do the same thing. It is a known deal because they want to get it out to the retailers for as low as they can to, exactly as Sean said, expand the hype, expand the interest, and let people know that it's out there. This is, I have not only zero problem with this, I think this is an awesome way to do that, add it right to the Kickstarter. So then we have the Mutagen Mystic foil covers. Now, we haven't seen these. Well, we kind of have, but we haven't fully seen these covers.
The full visualization of what they're going to look like yet. Correct. And that's because we were planning on doing something a lot simpler. We did not expect Eastman and Laird to both be like, yeah, we'd love to be a part of doing new art for foil covers. And that for us was just a big coup and really exciting. That both of them are just excited to be part of the project. I mean, these guys talk about successful, right? I mean, I would just, if I was Peter Laird, I'd just be on some island somewhere, sipping on, a margarita or whatever. And I don't know if you guys ever hear from me again, right? So,
well, Sean drops off the face of the planet, you know where to look.
Right? Yeah, it's like. But more likely off of a Taiwanese island or something. But yeah. I used to live in Taiwan, so but yeah, no, that's that's totally awesome that he and Kevin Eastman's one of these artists that he's like Kevin. Sambita, I don't know if he'll ever put down the pen. You know what I mean? And that's a great thing if you just have that. You're just going to always be that guy that's just creating. And I mean, look, Peter Laird is. I mean, because he's older than Eastman, he's still a part of this and still doing art. I mean, that's awesome. So, anyways,
and it also goes to show how much they enjoyed and value the original game, and how happy they are to see it being offered to a new generation of comic book fans and gamers.
Yeah, before this project, I didn't know either of them. Hadn't had any even tertiary contact with either of them. But I've interacted a lot now with Kevin Eastman. And, heard a lot about people discussing, communicating with Peter Laird and things like that. And they're just both real upstanding guys and just so excited to, I never would have thought, oh yeah, of course they'll do this. Now, if we, it would be like, now I'd be like, yeah, I don't think they couldn't be involved because they're just so excited about it. They love the Turtles. They love the fans,
Yeah, and they love the game.
Yeah.
Come on, outside of comics, this was one of their first big jobs that they did when they were young and breaking into the industry. And, Palladium books, they didn't know, anything about the role-playing industry, and they liked what we were doing. And they're like, yeah, sure, we want to be part of this back then. And they want to be part of it now, which is, beautiful.
Yeah. So.
And so does R2.
So does R2.
Yeah. But yeah, the Mutagen Mystic, that's kind of like the level where you can get in and you can get the.
So it's tMNT Other Strangers, Mutagen Green Edition, Transdimensional Adventures, Mutagen Green Edition, exclusive tMNT RPG cover art. Is that the old original one? Or is that new?
So the cover art print set has all the new cover art, and 2 of the stretch goals have unlocked the original core book cover art as well as the transdimensional tMNT cover art.
Awesome. Love that one. Actually, I like the redos of that as well. And tMNT Other Strangers Redux poster. What's that poster?
It's going to be the cover art for the new edition of the Redux. Okay. Yeah, and then and
what size
also
is that poster?
We haven't decided yet.
Okay.
It'll either at the smallest it'll be 11 by 17. We might do it larger. The reason we're looking at smaller stuff is over the years, Palladium's done a lot of posters, and a lot of people don't have the wall space for a big, 18 by 24 or larger. So we try to do a little bit smaller, but we haven't. And same thing with shops, stores,
Right, because they only have so much space near their point of sale and stuff like that.
So tentatively, we're thinking 11 by 17.
Right, and with the Thanksgiving bonus stretch goal that we're basically giving away is you get the poker deck as well, the tMNT illustrated poker deck. So really great value to include all that in that pledge level. So
now we'll move on to the Radical Rogue dude. Foil covers, miniatures. Now, for the folks, the 185 who have backed this, I'm just going to ask this question now. I think I know the answer, but a lot of people still ask, what is the status of the miniatures?
Oh, they're all in progress. We just can't show stuff until it's officially approved. So they're all far along in progress.
Yeah, as we mentioned in another show, one of the difficulties here is, we're dealing with a big corporation when you're dealing with Paramount and Nickelodeon. So it's not just like one person doing all the approvals. Different categories of items like the miniatures has to get approved by like 2 or 3 different departments.
Yes. And so that takes a little bit of time, right? And so we've shown off Casey Jones and then showed him pose with his weapons. You've been able to see Igor and Carl, Doc Farrell's minions. And let's see, the turtles are in review right now, as is
the foot.
No, Doc Farrell, the foot has been approved, I believe, but not posed with weapons.
No. Yes.
So, but those were done, Anyway, so wasn't able to get those in the last preview. But it's all coming out. It's just, and the other thing is normally we like to have all our ducks in a row, and this wasn't a gimme, right? Like being able to do the miniatures was actually a big coup for us as far as negotiations. And so that was one of those things that came later in the process as the contract was being, the very final last details are being put on it before we signed it. And so what that meant is there just wasn't a lot of lead up time to get that approvals process rolling earlier. Like we had already been doing. A lot of the color work was very far advanced, and a lot of the the remaster process was very far advanced. So yeah, that's just the honest explanation on that. And we didn't want to delay the Kickstarter. And if I get it, if you don't want to buy minis that you haven't seen, no problem. Get in now and then upgrade during the backer kit.
Yeah.
No problem. No harm, no foul. It doesn't bother me one bit. Yeah. I'm just excited we can offer them at all. And just remember, they are Kickstarter exclusive. So if you have any interest in the minis, back at some level in the Kickstarter, because once that's locked down, but if your name's in the Kickstarter, you're good.
Does $1 count, or does it have to start
at $1?
So you're not sure about the minis. You can back at $1. You've got what you said, like 2 to 3 months that they'll have for the 2 months for the.
We're going to hold it as long as we can before we have to give the printers the final printing numbers. Yeah. So
there's plenty of time for people to make that decision. Absolutely.
Yeah, get that grandma money from Christmas or Hanukkah's or whatever, and then come in and do your thing. Well, and Chinese New Year.
We are going to continue to update, so you will see as we get these things approved. You will see them presented in updates, so you can see exactly what the heck you're getting.
Yeah. So again, I know a lot of people start getting anxious and stuff. Don't be anxious. Just chill. We'll get it to you. If you don't want it, it doesn't bother. Hey, it doesn't bother me if you don't want to buy the minis. I just don't want anyone who would enjoy them to miss out. Right.
Exactly.
One question we get about them too is why are they the price they are? Well, part of that's because with miniatures, there's a huge upfront cost with the sculpting, especially if you want quality sculpting, and then the tooling for the factories, just to be simple, just a kind of a comprehensive term for a lot of different things. And so that's one of the things is we didn't. This isn't like a boxed game where every single person who buys it is getting the minis, right? And so the number produced helps offset that upfront cost, which is considerable. So that's why this is what it is, and negotiating even just have these as an exclusive to the Kickstarter is a big deal for us.
Yeah.
But hopefully this opens the doors for the future, right? And that's another thing we're excited about. But just so that people understand those things, we're not, there's just certain costs and stuff that go into stuff like this.
Yeah, and I think that it's the lack of understanding, and that's not a disparagement to anybody. I don't understand fully, but I've seen this through other processes, through other Kickstarters, so I'm vaguely aware. So everything you're telling me is right in line with what other people said when they've done the same thing, whether it's, I was going to do 16 points of articulation in my toy, but now I can only afford 8. Otherwise, you guys aren't going to be able to afford, things like that. So that absolutely makes sense. So whether people like it or not, I can't control, but it does make sense.
Yeah, and we're not screwing around. I mean, I used to work for Games Workshop, and I was a store manager, but I did go to Games Days. I went to the old American headquarters when they were in Baltimore. I saw the process. I'm very familiar with all that stuff. Very familiar with how these things retail, how they sell. Okay, and then a lot of the guys we're working with, I mean, they've done stuff for GW, Fantasy Flight, Hasbro, a lot of other big companies. So we've got experienced hands on this. You are getting, really high quality stuff, even if, kind of proof in the pudding. Check out the stuff we've previewed already in the other updates. And more of that's coming along. So again, we appreciate everyone's patience and understanding, because, sometimes you have to, you can't have everything lined up exactly how it would have been if everything was optimal. You have to kind of go with what is going to work best, and make things happen, right? And so in this case, we just wanted to make everything happen the best we could, and get this project out to the fans. So
okay, I'll ask it now, because this is a question I just don't want to ask, but it keeps coming up, and you guys have been asked 100 times. So I just, for one more time, for folks out there that are sitting there like, give me my PDFs. I only play with PDFs. Why are there no PDFs? Why does Palladium hate PDFs so much, et cetera, et cetera? Why are there no PDFs?
Palladium doesn't hate PDFs. I mean, we've been doing them on Drive-Thru-RPG for over a decade?
Since 2008. So I mean, we've got 300 freaking
almost 2
titles.
decades. Yeah. In fact, one of the things that we have coming in, we have a new web store to be launched sometime when we can focus on getting the last couple of details in line for that. But one of the big things we're excited about is to be able to offer PDFs through the new web store. And so, we love PDFs. We think PDFs are great. They weren't a perfect fit for this project for a number of reasons. The biggest number one thing is we're focused on the physical product you're getting with this. And notice there's an emphasis on the physical product, the color, the dice, the minis. We want this to be just a real cool Redux, and that was something we didn't want to deep six the rest of the negotiations over PDFs. And so I don't know. I think that's the easiest way to put it.
That's
okay.
Sorry, there's no PDFs on this one.
Yeah, sorry, not sorry. If that's a deal breaker, that's cool. I'm not mad, right? But the books are happening, and I'm very excited about the books happening. We'll put it that way. So if you don't like paper and you don't like books, we're Palladium Books. We do paper and books.
My problem is I'm old, so I like books. I'm probably a bad judge when it comes to that. And
I like PDFs, and that's one of the things I'll say is, part of the Titan Robotics Kickstarter campaign, which a lot of people that are familiar with this new Turtles campaign maybe didn't see that one. But, we ran that last year around this time. We delivered it. And one of the big things we did is when we remastered because Titan Robotics follows on after Rift Sourcebook 1, Sourcebook 2, the Mechanoids, Sumerian Nation, and some material from Aftermath. So as part of that process, we remastered Sourcebook 1, Sourcebook 2, the Mechanoids, and Sumerian Nation. And those PDFs were remastered for free. If you already own the PDF, you just got the upgraded version, which now includes hot linked table of contents, rear index, The art looks better than ever, right? The text has had an editing, a clean, spell check, editing, all this kind of pass on it. Has really nice, updated layout. It should look. The goal with the layout on the remaster on those especially was not to look different, right? Not to be super noticeable. But if you did notice some of those differences, right? Some of the keener fans have definitely noticed the differences. Yeah. So I'm just saying that because we do have we're dedicated to offering the best PDFs we can, and going forward we'll continue to do that, and take the opportunity as we're offering new books to also take the chance to maybe remaster some old books and slowly bring the mass of the most popular books back up to, or bring them up to that a really just kick-ass modern standard. So yeah, there's no PDF hate over here. It's just in this particular case, we said, the important thing is the books. The important thing is some of these really exclusive, cool things that we're able to do. And so we really focused on that we just didn't want to deep six things over something like PDFs.
Cool. Say a quick hello Diversity and Dragons. How you doing today?
And if it's a deal breaker for you, then don't back. There's no big deal. So no big deal.
He said it would never be a deal breaker for him.
Oh, it would never be a deal breaker.
Sorry, I was just saying hello to. All right. So those were for those. I have one more question, but you pretty much answered it. But I'll do that at the end so we can get through these here. So we have the Cowabunga Cowboy foil covers. And this includes tMNT, Other Strangeness, Mutant. I cannot say the word mutagen.
Green.
Thank you. The Soylent Green edition.
Yes.
Then tMNT Transdimensional Adventures, Mutagen Green edition. By the way, I think I said it before, but I'll say it again just in case I was only thinking in my head and I get weird like that. Dementia. Is both. I have the tMNT book and I have the Transdimensional book. All the other books that I have are after the bomb books. Well, Mutants in Orbit. So this is actually going to give me the complete collection that I've been looking for.
This is the thing, is a lot of people don't understand. These two books are collecting everything ever printed for Turtles, which most fans don't have. Yeah. So the first book contains, tMNT and Other Strangeness. It is tMNT and Other Strangeness. But it also includes the Trucking Turtles and Turtles Go Hollywood. As a kid, I played Turtles Go Hollywood with my cousins. Great memories, great stuff. A lot of people really love the Trucking Turtles adventure. I didn't get it when I was a kid, so this is exciting times for me too. But the best-selling adventure supplement was tMNT Adventures. There was the tMNT Guide to the Galaxy, and then the super duper legendary for its time travel rules and mutant dinosaurs and magic and stuff like that is Transdimensional tMNT. So those three books are collected. So we kind of the tMNT Adventures, Transdimensional tMNT. That's why it's Transdimensional Adventures, and the cover homages the cover art for all three of those books. So and Freddie Williams just. I told Kevin, I was like, I don't think we can put that much on the cover, Kev. That's going to be too much. And Kev's like, no, we can do it. Freddie's a master. And Freddie, you've got the because I was like, where do we put the Triceratons when you have all that action in the middle? Well, he's got them dropping out of a dropship on the side, and the TCRI aliens and their robot bodies in the midground on the other side. And it's just, it's so cool. Like that was one of those covers you can look at it for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Just looking at all the details. So
and of all the covers you've shown so far, I obviously have my favorite. I've said it a bunch of times, but I like all the covers. I think they're all good, and I think they all have nuances to them that, like you said. I mean, I probably won't stare at. Well, I don't know. I've been known to stare at certain for 5 minutes, but they all have these little details in there that are worth taking the time to look at and appreciating.
Well, a lot of people don't know this was Kevin Eastman's first painting that he ever did.
Oh, really?
We didn't know that till we were talking to him.
Yeah.
And so when I got the old the scans that we had, and we scanned the printer proofs, which were cracked and aged. And I when I was going to the University of Texas in Dallas, I worked at the Veterans Center, like for military veterans. And one of the things I did was clean up old I had gotten online into archives of old propaganda posters from World War II and stuff like that, and we use those as for promotions, right, on campus. And so I got a lot of experience cleaning those up, and so I was able to apply it to this cover art, and I sent it to Kevin Eastman, and he was like, "It's like Christmas." I didn't realize, I said, just in case you don't have a better version in your archives, and he didn't. And so he was super excited to see that, and did the same thing for the tMNT Adventures cover. Actually is a wraparound, and it was a poster, and that's going to be on the front of the GM screen. And we have previews of stuff of that coming soon, but I'm not sure, because I'll have to go through different approval process. So I don't know if we're going to have that in the next 2 days, but we're going to be definitely showing these things off and adding them to the backer kit as it happens. So if you're one of those people, I totally get it, you want to see something before you buy it, we're going to fulfill that promise. Yep. It's coming. So
okay. Well, that was my third question that I was going to ask, was basically the status on the book covers, but I think you've you've told us multiple times today, if people don't get it at this point. Where were we? Cowabunga Cowboy. So we have where's it? tMNT RPG dice sets. Now that's all of the sets, right?
Yes, that's all the fan roll, everything from fan roll, one of everything from fan roll.
Okay. Mutagen Green dice set. How is that coming along?
That's coming along well. Again, it's so that and the GM screen we're getting produced by our own, publishing partner, because Fanroll does their own stuff. They have their own supply chain, everything, right? But for the Mutagen Green dice set and the GM screen, we're working with our own personal printing partner. And so again, hope to have more of that to show off soon. But it is coming along well. And I know it's frustrating. I say I've seen stuff that y'all haven't seen. I've seen stuff Kevin haven't even seen yet, right? So, but I'm not trying to be a jerk. I will show it off as soon as we get it approved, but we do have to approve it. I can't just fire from the hip. Hey, this is what our manufacturer mocked up for us, and these are the decisions we're making. We have to go through a little more orderly manner than usual for this kind of stuff. So we just appreciate everyone's patience, because again, this is an officially licensed Ninja Turtles, Nickelodeon, Paramount product. So
okay,
every little bit.
Did we get the Redux poster again, and RPG Artist Tributes 8.5 by 11? Are those all paintings, or some of them just hey, this is what it means to me?
They're all full. They're all going to be full color, full page art.
Yep.
For this art print set, it's from the art people that people would know as RPG artists primarily, right? So like Larry Elmore or Ramon Perez,
yeah.
But it's funny because a lot of guys that have worked on Palladium art, RPG art, have gone on to become well known in the comic book industry. So it is kind of funny. But a lot of that too, we have so many artists that are jumping in and joining in. It's going to be kind of tough to decide who to include in the art print sets. But we're looking forward to, I think, 6 to 8 pieces of art in there. So you won't be able to get those prints anywhere else. So they'll be exclusive to this. So.
Remember, you can add all this stuff in backer kit, folks.
And just some people have been asking about, hey, can I just buy the art print sets separately? No, they are exclusive rewards for certain backing levels. And that's
so. Just to be clear, you can't spend $1 and then add them on.
Just like you can't do that with the dice. Mm-hmm. But no. I mean, if you want that RPG artist print set, you'd either need to do the Cowabunga Cowboy or the Time Lord.
Gotcha.
Right. And if you want to add on dice, you're going to have to back at least the $50, Ninja Warrior basic level. So
good clarification, because I think I actually saw that specific question on.
Yeah, people keep asking it, like the backing, the pledge levels, the minimum pledge levels, and then you have to pledge at a pledge level to be able to add an add-on. Now we've been very generous, I think, with what you can add as an add-on. Virtually everything except for some of that stuff that is exclusive, like the Mutagen green foil covers and the art print sets and stuff like that. But yeah, that's all going to stay the same. Basically, if you get in now, you can upgrade to anything that's currently an option through Kickstarter, right? but those options and that interchangeability is not going to change.
All right. Then the Grand Retailer, you were talking about this before. Quantity of 4 of the tMNT Other Strangeness Redux editions. We've got the black, white, and red edition. We've got the variant cover, the Mutagen Green edition, and 4 of the transdimensional add-ons.
Of the other variants, yep.
Also a GM screen, Mutagen Green dice set, and 2 tMNT and Other Strangeness Redux posters. Yep. And of course, the optional add-ons.
Yep.
So now, honey, I don't know what happened. I think I tripped over something. My face hit the computer, and all of a sudden, don't know what happened. But apparently, I'm a Time Lord. And you know what? And time only goes forward. You can't go back in time to change anything. So I'm stuck with it now. So if you want to spend big bucks, get the everything. And look, let me be very clear on this. Anytime a stretch goal is opened, it goes into this automatically, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And the other thing I'll say, just to be clear on stretch goals, I mean, and one of the things that we did with the $900,000 bonus, Thanksgiving bonus, the cover art print set is being added to it was on the Mutagen Mystic, but it's being added to the Radical Rogue and the Cowabunga Cowboy, as well as the tMNT illustrated poker deck. So that's pretty cool too, because that's a lot of added value to those. Mm-hmm. And the poker deck is also added to the Time Lord. So, and the other thing I'll say is if you're getting something as an add-on, you get any stretch goals that apply to that add-on as well. So, like one of the add-ons that we just broke was Fugitoid. So the Fugitoid miniature is being added to the Heroes miniature set. It doesn't matter if you get the miniature set as part of your pledge level or as an add-on. You're going to get Fugitoid in there. The other thing is Fugitoid's stats, his character entry, is being added to every single Transdimensional Adventures book. So that benefits virtually all backers. As long as you get the second book, you're getting that, right? And one of the ones we have coming up is Karai, and that's Shredder's lieutenant. And so she will be added to every single core rule book, every single tMNT and Other Strangeness Redux edition book, with including a new illustration by Kevin Eastman. So excellent. It's pretty dope.
Well, this is everything, folks. We've covered enough of what everything means. so it's everything. I don't know what to tell you. It's each of the covers. It's each of the add-on items, and yet you can still get more. You can add on even more on top of that, because I want 7 copies of Transdimensional tMNT. No, but you can, and you know what? So you want your own copy and want a table copy. There you go.
Right. You want a couple of extra variant covers, whatever you want to get. I mean, that's the nice thing when as long as you back at a level, one of the higher levels that has the Mutagen Green foil covers, it basically unlocks virtually everything to be added. I'm
not going to show the other ones because those are sold out.
Yeah, those are basically Time Lord with a few collectors items that we had here at the office.
And I'm going to download what you sent me right now. Because the next thing I'm going to do, if there's anything you want to talk about, I'm going to get these pages ready, and then people can see what the layout looks like. If there's anything else you want to talk about, please do so, because I can get these downloaded. But then the next thing I would like to do is I'd like to do a giveaway for those folks who entered the giveaway, $75 Palladium books gift certificate. And the reason I went with $75 is because it cost me $60 plus shipping, handling, tax, whatever else Alabama does here, to get the Christmas package. And that's what the intent of it was for. If you do something else with it, that's up to you. But it'd be $75 Palladium Books gift certificate, which I will roll for as soon as we talk about these cover images. I have to find a place to save them. Right there. I'm very OCD when it comes to file management.
I can imagine. I can be too.
All right, there we go. So it's in the wrong folder, but at least I'll all be in the wrong folder. Got a couple more to go. And yeah, these look really nice. So for folks who are like, oh, I want to know what the new book's going to look like. How's it going to be changed? Oh my God, did they ruin the Palladium look? The first thing that that I looked at, which is funny because it's not the only book to do it, but it was the first thing I noticed. Like, oh, Times New Roman is gone. Not that that's a bad thing. It's just there's like this feel with the Palladium books, right?
Sure.
You know that I was like, oh. But here we go. I should be able to start showing them now. Percent. No, I can't because I'm an idiot. Ugh. Why do you make it so difficult, StreamYard?
And these will be in an update coming up very shortly too, just so that the fans know.
No, this is exclusive only to Legion of Myth viewers. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. There we go.
I just know sometimes streaming, it's not, you can't see everything really clearly, and so
It's actually opening up in Photoshop, so give me a minute. God. I do too much graphics work. Photoshop's also been known to mess with my StreamYard.
Ruh-roh.
But what I can do is I can zoom in on it because it's Photoshop. All right, here we go. Present, share screen. I'm going to just do it by the entire screen. So hopefully I don't have any porn or anything over there. Go away. Later. Adobe, go. God, thank you. Adobe's getting weird right now. Boom, share. Okay. So let's zoom in on this. I'm waiting for Photoshop to catch up all of a sudden.
Yeah, just, Photoshop may not be the best way to do this, but it's up to you, man.
Hey, don't use logic with me. There we go. So
I
now,
learned that a while ago.
wait, you're talking about Photoshop, not me, right? All right, so we're not gonna parse every word and so forth, but just to give an idea of how this looks. Nice title. Got I'd say updated fonts. Is there like any paragraph here that you think really stands out to show like what you've added or what you've done?
Sure. Oh, there's some, like, for instance, I'll say if you, there you go.
Yep. So now we have a speed table, and you got tabletop inches. Who plays Palladium with? I'm sure it happens, but I mean, like, that's one of the things I loved about Palladium is you didn't need miniatures.
Oh, you don't.
Has that been a heavily requested thing? Like, hey, we want battle. Really? Okay.
Yeah, I think some people really like to use tabletop for whether it's VTT or something on their own table. We've had quite a few people request it, and we thought, hey, let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, why not, right? I mean, I personally don't do that, but why not have more options for people?
But it also clarifies how far you can move as an action, right, in narrative play. So it also has that. And then if you go to the left, like with the glossary of terms, we don't need to go into all the details, but I mean, the gaming terminology has shifted and changed and updated over the past 30 plus years, right? 40 years almost now. So there are some little things that have been, that I updated in here, as well as some not so little things, right? In the way to define some different terms and things like that. So I think that people will find this to be very useful and to match a lot of common, terminology that people use in role-playing games and that Palladium fans, right, use in their discussions of role-playing games. And instead of a player character, or player's character, or a playing character, as I think it was previously, it's now player character. Little things like that.
What I find funny is as I know the old Palladium style guide, and it's just some stuff that I used to I laugh at. I mean, it wasn't like anything insulting or like, oh, this is stupid. But Kevin, your insistence on P.C. but having it here also tells me this is Palladium. Like there's that consistency. O.C.C. Things like that, where most people just type in OCC.
Well, I mean, that's one of the things that, right, is very different than, say, I mean, I lived and breathed the Pinnacle style guide for years, right? And And here the style guide is different. And there's little things that we've been updating and plan on updating in the future. But it's this is true to Palladium.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So, and I think part of the big thing is just if you zoom out so you show both pages, part of it's just a lot of people when they saw this were just like, wow, that looks great.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right. I mean, it's very usable, very clean, very easy to read. And that was the whole goal. And a lot of people have seen the art. Like one of the guys that came in here to do the interview, right? What was his name?
Matt.
Yeah, Matt. So we did an interview with him, and then I showed him. I was like, hey, do you want to see some of this work in progress? And he's like, well, you guys said you were doing full color art, but this is next level. His jaw just hit the floor when he saw it combined with the remastered text and the updated layout and rules clarifications and stuff like that. So I think that the overall effect is really gonna really excite a lot of people
for sure.
Open up a few more of these.
Sure.
Oh, so you guys colored the comic.
We color everything.
Even the equipment section.
There's no black and white.
There's everything.
Love it.
Even the lockpick set. There's an illustration of a lockpick set and a police lockpick gun, full color.
That's and the thing is, I know, Sean, you showed this before, but just maybe again it's my dementia, but I don't remember everything. But this is awesome because this is the comic. If I can find it in here, this is the comic that is. No, that's not that one. I don't know what page it's on, but it is in the book.
Oh yeah.
Because there's a few comics
by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, specifically for the role-playing game.
Here we go.
Just you won't see this anywhere else, especially with this color, right? I mean, that's never before seen. But yeah, it's straight out of the original book.
And then we have combat. We talk about step-by-step combat. Now you said that you cleared up a few things here that might have been confusing for folks. Why does it keep doing that?
Again, it should seem familiar, but if you go and compare it one for one to the original book, it's pretty different.
So nobody's going to have to relearn rules, right?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that going through this will be the easiest, most clear version of all these things to be presented so far. I mean, it's I'm taking notes from all the other game lines, but also Kevin, a lot of stuff that Kevin and I have been talking about. How can we make this just a little bit clearer? Because sometimes there's a little slight turn of phrase, the way you divide something. For instance, just really defining, and that you can't see some of it here, but like what a long range sneak attack is, right? If that's more defined, people understand. Oh, whenever there's someone shooting at you that you aren't aware of, they get the initiative. But it's just a little clearer because I have run into some people understand it. There are some gamers that I've talked to who didn't understand it clearly. So we're just trying to make sure everything is crystal clear and easy to reference and use here.
But it still retains its flexibility. One of the things I loved about Palladium was the fact that there wasn't a rule for everything. There's a framework there, and there are rules because there are lots of different pieces. I mean, you got missiles, and you've got lasers and range combat and ninja combat, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. Well, and if you scroll down, for instance, and you look at, for instance, at the beginning of the initiative step, it says step 1, determine initiative. So it says, when opponents square off for battle, the game master decides who has the initiative. So first of all, you don't need the rest of that. It's kind of optional because the game master decides. Do you see what I'm saying? Whatever the game master thinks fits the story, and that's just and that's Palladium's always been that way, but we're just trying to make it super clear. But then we go into the sneak attacks from often from behind, or long range surprise attacks. They always have the initiative. If someone initiates sudden violence, the game master may decide that they have the initiative. The other people just have to then roll in after that. And then otherwise, if everyone's just expecting a fight, as often happens, you go ahead and have everyone roll initiative with their bonus as normal. So
with the exception of the fact that I think you've been reading my notes for the game that I'm writing, I'm blaming you guys. No, there's actually something here that I really like is that I think, personal opinion, is I think that in a lot of tables, people are too quick to roll initiative. All right, I come around the corner. Do I see the guy over there? Yeah, I want to take a shot. Okay, roll initiative. Like, no, the person should just take the shot. That other person isn't waiting for him.
Well, and the long range sneak attack or the long range surprise attacks or the sneak attacks, heroes can get to do that too, right? If someone's not aware of you and you're, coming up behind them and stab them in the back or chloroforming them, knock them out or whatever. I mean, hey, that's a big deal, and they should, that's hard earned in role playing, in my opinion.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
When the players earn it, they should get it, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes you have that player that just says, he already had his knife in his hand, or maybe he doesn't, and everyone's not armed yet, but he just goes and decks the guy, and hey, guess what? He's got initiative. He initiated sudden violence, right? Even if everyone was a little on edge, they didn't expect him to just throw a punch when everyone's armed with swords and armor or whatever, right? So
100% agree.
Ways you can get that, but again, part of it is just the game master decides that that is an important sentence, and this is just an example of everything's in color. It's so funny because we tell everybody everything's in color, but then they see the equipment page and they're like, oh, it's all in color. Yes, everything's in color. Oh, it has great layout. Yes, everything has a new, fresh layout. Correct.
So I have a follow-up question to that.
Remastered.
Yeah.
When you say everything, what do you mean by everything?
All the art.
And the Terror Bears. Thank you for this page. I'm gonna keep this one. I'm gonna blow it up on my own. Terror Bears are awesome.
There's something great about the Terror Bears.
Oh, and it's funny because I showed my wife this picture and I showed her the original. She's like, "Yeah, the original's creepy." She said, "But those actually are really creepy." And I'm like, "They're supposed to be."
So Sophie's we're really excited to show this off soon. But Sophie's tribute art for the Terror Bears, it's like a prequel to this scene. It's when they're outside the house about to break in. It's freaking great.
How cool is that?
Yeah. But yeah, when you see this, you kind of get a feeling of, oh, this is gonna be very easy to parse, very modern layout with a little bit of breathing room. You know what I mean? And real, that's the whole idea.
And then, of course, we got some turtles here. Do I want to spoil their stats? Yeah, I do. Okay, we'll zoom in on this a little bit. It's not letting me. I have to do it the old-fashioned way. There we go, 200. So we got Raphael. This is my favorite turtle because if you're going to do it with Tude. And there you go. 151. Oh, that's right. He's got a turtle shell. I'm like, oh, that's a lot of STC. Yeah. So what size category is he? They're all 6, aren't they?
5 or 6, I believe. Yeah.
So you got, what's that?
The giant turtles, the Godzilla turtles.
Well, people, you know how gamers are, and you can't fault them for this. They always try to find ways of breaking games. Like, how can I get the most, for the least effort? And the amount of dinosaurs that I started seeing in the game after Transdimensional, I actually had to shut them off. Like, we're not doing dinosaurs. And of course, I say it all the time, the weasel. Or I'm really going to make that food issue that you've got. I'm going to make you hunt for food.
Right, you can make him role play it, yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, just a little thing you might notice here. It says there under combat abilities, it says actions per round, right? So instead of attacks per melee round, it's actions per combat round. And that is throughout the text, right? So
is that going to be a Palladium thing going forward? And the reason I ask is because, you got grognards like me that hate change everywhere. I think there's a good change. Don't get me wrong. But, they're going to be something, oh, there they go, just changing words again. Like, but at the same time, I think it makes more sense. So in future products, what is the intent? Is the intent to continue on with something like this, or hey, that's just for turtles?
This is just for turtles right now, and we don't want to break tradition in a long running game line without being very careful about that.
Okay.
But for this product, this is the way we're going forward with this one. We just want it to be again as accessible as possible for new players coming into it. But and some of this is like, hey, we get a chance to check it out and see how people respond to it and how they feel about it, right? But in the end, it's the same thing. It's just a slight updating of terms to match more modern tabletop gaming parlance that is more common. So we just want it to be really accessible and for people to use.
Well, I hope people enjoyed that sneak peek, and I can't wait till it's on on the Kickstarter page for you to be able to show folks. Because I think, how do I say this? I think that is going to alleviate, because there are folks who have sent me messages like, what does it mean that they're updating it? And of course, I've got people with certain beliefs and some people with other beliefs, and these people are arguing with those people. No, it's none of that. Look, you saw it. It's red text. It's bolder. It's bold titles. It's a nice clean layout. You said the terminology is to, dare I say, modern gaming standards. I know some of us don't care about that, but if you're trying to get new people into the hobby, it is something.
I mean, it's not aimed at the people who are, running Palladium every week. They're already comfortable with the terminology. We're just trying to clarify things, but hopefully maybe there's something there for them where they're saying, oh, this one little weird thing that happens sometimes in initiative, it's a little clearer to me now. Oh, I understand this explanation of how to use AR for natural armor or body armor just a little bit clearer. Okay, cool. So there's little things like that. But yeah, we're not trying to tell anybody how to play at their table, or anything like that. I mean, that's part of the whole thing with Palladium is game the way you want. Man.
Yeah, that's the job of crazy YouTubers like me to tell you how to play at your table.
But I understand it is a fine line. It's a toe. It's a bit of a tightrope. You don't want to go too far or in one direction or the other. And so that's part of the reason why I wanted to send you this so that we could actually chat about it. And like in high resolution, so you can zoom in, right? And we could talk about specific, phrasing in a few spots, just so that people know, oh, hey, that affordance is there. This is exactly what they mean. I doubt maybe there's a couple people that might say, I'm not buying the book anymore. Okay, that's cool.
Really over that?
But
I just saw that someone just posted a notice saying, the book looks great. That's what we've been trying to tell people, and unfortunately we couldn't show it from the start. But the books is gonna have that beautiful. Personally, I think it's what Palladium has always done well. It's going to be very familiar, but look brand new. Look and feel new, even though it's everything everything you love is all there. It's just heightened. It's just taken to a new level of sophistication and beauty.
Yeah, one of the guys said it's the revised rules. It looks like this was just produced today. Well, right.
Exactly.
That's the whole thing. I mean, look, these books were created with paste and boards and typewriters, and
Sean's. So this version, which most people know, was actually typeset, but the very first edition, we didn't have the money, so of course I flipped to a page art. It's actually brother typewriter because it kind of resembled typesetting, and I could afford a $200 typewriter and not $1,000 worth of actual out-of-house typesetting.
These the X-Acto knives and paste and boards, and just without getting into all the differences and details. I mean, I studied graphic design, and like what Kevin does and what Kevin did, especially back then, is an art, right? It's a real art. And, now that's done in InDesign, right? And that's what I do in InDesign. And so it's kind of cool because it's a handoff, right? Kevin did this, and now I'm helping him bring it up to that modern kind of standard and remastering. That's the whole joy of a remaster, is taking that original stuff and the original intent. But things have improved. We can do a lot more exacting things these days, and it's exciting. So the art, even if the art was in black and white, it would look better than ever because of the way that we've been able to scan it and reproduce it with modern printing quality.
Well, that's the thing too. Is you mentioned the scans. We pulled out. I keep all that stuff. We pulled out all the original boards, and we scanned it from the key-lined boards, the paste-up boards.
That's like crazy high definition.
Yeah, so that it's as crisp and clean and nice as possible.
Yeah, and that's really, I think, going to show through when it comes to the black, white, and red edition, because the interior layout is instead of full color, it's going to be black and white with some red headers and red bandanas on the turtles and the art and blood and things like that. But it's mostly going to be black and white with splashes of red, right? And so I think that's where that's really that attention to detail and that high quality work is really going to shine as well for the fans.
Let's face it, even with color, you can say color. There's color, and then there's the color we're doing, where we're trying to make every illustration, every panel, comic book panel, look like a beautiful rendered painting. Not just, oh, there's a splash of color. It looks like crap, but it's color, man.
Yeah.
That's not our goal. When Palladium transitions to full color, we want to have color that's going to blow people's socks off, just like our black and white stuff did. And this book, these two books, are examples of what people can expect. This is the kind of thing that we're moving towards over the next couple of years.
That's excellent. That's excellent. And if this is just, even if it's like the beta or the proto version of what's to come, I think you're set for the foreseeable future. I don't want to say 50 years because I probably won't be around that long. That sucks. But absolutely for the foreseeable future, which is great because that means product lines that we know and love, have known and loved for a long time, are going to keep adding on to it, so we can love even more of it. Yes, Max's cat is jealous of turtles. Yes. All right, let's do this giveaway, and then we'll kind of swing on over to a couple other different topics. And still Palladium, folks, still Palladium. But we want to do a giveaway here because it's time. I want to do a giveaway, but it's not letting me share. There you go. All right. So, for those who don't know, we had a giveaway. I tried to announce it, as best I could, wherever I could, and we got 32 entries, which is pretty good for one of our giveaways. I sometimes we get 5, sometimes we get 100, but usually it's closer to 5. But so there we go. 32 people entered, and this is for a $75 Palladium Books giveaway. And no, you cannot enter now. Those are all the names, and here we go. It's going to take 15 seconds. That's right. Wheel of Fortune time, baby. As we come to pick you. Oh, it's going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And who do we have? Oh, it just skipped over. We got, okay, so I know who this is, and actually the Palladium guys know who this is as well. This is Randy from Biggest Geekus.
Oh, cool.
So Randy from, I know it doesn't look, I just know who that screen name is. He's also in the Rifts game that I play in that we were supposed to do this last week, but unfortunately holidays and so forth, so we're hopefully going to be doing that very soon. $75 gift certificate. We'll do one more of these towards the end of the stream, but there you go. If anybody wants, rigged, that's the right response. Rigged. And by the way, his name is taken out of the pool now that he won, so he cannot win twice. So it will be somebody new next time. Now let me do this appropriately. Get them back on the screen. That's big. All right. So congrats, Randy, and congrats to Biggest Geekus guys. So. I'd like to, oops, this is the wrong card. I'd like to flip on over. I keep, I lied. I need to get some comments up that people. Question for Kevin and Sean. There have been a lot of people asking what's exactly included in each art print set in the Kickstarter comments. Could you elaborate on that for us and them?
Yeah, so there's 3 art print sets. One is the cover art print set. So that has all the new cover art. And, from the 2 illustrations by Freddie Williams and then colors by Mike Majestic that are on the 2 core books, the variant covers of each one of those, and the black, white, and red edition covers. And then the stretch goals unlocked the original art cover for this and the original Trans D cover art. Kind of a bookend, right? So that you now have the old and the new. And by the way, it was a lot of freaking work correcting the what we had from the printer proofs and getting all that ready. So I hope everyone appreciates it. It wasn't as much of a oh, that's an easy, as it might seem like, because this stuff had to be, it was all very archival remaster type of work that it's very time consuming and it requires a certain amount of skill. I'm not trying to tout my skill level on that, but maybe you can decide when you get the art print set. But and then the other 2 are, one is a comic book artist art print set, and the other one is an RPG artist art print set. Now, again, some of our artists that have worked with Palladium have gone from RPGs to being very, very popular and famous in comic books, including like Freddie Williams and Scott Johnson and Ramon Perez, and the list goes on, right?
But I mean, we have other guys like Nick Bradshaw
Right.
and Apollo Okamura and
Larry
John
Elmore.
Selesnik and Larry Elmore,
right?
And those are going to all be in the gamer.
Yeah, the artists like that are going to be in the gamer set. We haven't decided exactly who, because we keep getting people coming in, and we're objectively.
Oh no!
What we got right. So again, we're objectively going to give you what we think is going to make the most
the stuff
striking.
that you're going to look and go,
that we'd want to get right.
Like some, we could throw out some names and people go, I don't know, and then you're going to see their art and go, oh my god.
Right. So you may not have heard of XYZ guy, but we think you're really going to like the selections. And though, I don't want to put a definitive list of names on that for a couple of reasons. But yeah, and that's, if you back Titan Robotics, people were really excited about those art print sets as well, and we got a lot of compliments after people received them. So that's why we did more art print sets for this as well.
Okay. Well, that actually was 2 questions I just realized, so I can skip the next one. And, what's this one? If you ever get a break in your schedule, would you consider running or at least organizing a live play?
I've done live plays for Pinnacle Entertainment, for Savage Rifts. So if you want to see how I run a live play, now of course Rifts feels different when you play with the Savage rule set, even if it's just because of having things like Benny's, where a player can say, I want to re-roll that roll. And actually, when I've done the live plays, we've actually kind of leaned into that, where we could, you could donate to the channel, and that would you could force me or a player to re-roll.
Cool. Nice
interaction. It was really funny. It's very interactive. So, like in one of them, I think it was Operation Astria, written by John Stevens, and I ran it for a bunch of people, and including a bunch of guys on the Savage Rifts development team, and they're in the stream, and so it was funny because the fans that were watching were like, "Oh, that lieutenant from the New Navy, we want him to survive. What's his name?" And and it was like, I thought he was just going to get blown up and end of his story, but no, the fans spoke.
That's awesome.
So, but yeah, if you want to see something like that, I'd be very happy to do something like that in the future for tMNT. Especially once we get through the production on this and get this off, to being the final print stuff is coming and everything. I'd be very excited to do that. But yeah, in the meantime, we're very busy. So really want to focus on this, because
it's an understatement.
And live plays. I don't know. For me, I'm one of those people that normally when I role play with friends, and it can be very relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
But when I role play publicly or at a convention, I don't know. It kind of drains me, as like I'm putting on a show. Which I am. I'm trying to make sure it's like the best experience possible for everybody.
Exactly.
And I don't usually, it's for a lot of people I don't know, right? Or an audience of people that I don't know. So just bear with me, because it's just one of those things where I'm not one of those guys that can just go run something like that on live every week, and that would just tap me out fast. So
it's weird, because I can do the one shots. I've run a bunch of different games, one shots. I can do the convention thing, and I can do the thing with my friends. I struggle with the whole idea of playing online. I'm not against it. People think, oh, you're an online. No, if that's how you play. That's how you play. But the way, I stand up, I walk around the table, I'm cheering things on, I'm laughing at people. I'm very and I'm still into doing 6 to 8 hour sessions, and people are like, look, I got 2 hours. You ready to play? Like, I'm not running a game for 2 hours. It's going to barely say how.
Yeah.
Even then, that's too less for me. But
yeah. At cons, I'm the same way. I'm very energetic and engaged, but I put a lot into it. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is with live plays, if you want any good visualizations, that actually is pretty difficult technically. And so when we've done it for Pinnacle, we've had Chris Landauer and John Stevens, because he also works on the tabletop stuff for Savage Rifts. They're like helping puppeteer everything, so I can just focus on the game, and the players can just focus on the game. But it's quite a production for it to look good,
Mm-hmm.
or as good as it can with me involved.
Well, I'm not going to put it on the screen because I'm sorry.
I do want to say that running, a 2-hour game is not as difficult as you might think. I've actually gotten pretty good at running, because especially at like the Palladium Open House and other events, people want to game with me.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm running a 4-hour game, that severely limits the number of people I can game with. So I got into the groove of running like a 2-hour game, and it can be just as much fun as a 4 or 6-hour game. So I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, but Kevin also has a really great time playing with 26 players. So not all of us are as gifted as he is.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'm not knocking anybody's style of play, and I can see that being good for other people. For me, if I leave a session at 4 hours on the Game Master and be like, well, man, I've only got 52 weeks out of the year. And then it's like one of those things where it's like, no, we only play every other week. I'm like, what, are you kidding me? How are we supposed to get anything done? So
the other
that's my style.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is having a story that has a plot arc that is satisfying within that 2-hour time period.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Sure.
And just,
I just didn't want people to dismiss it. I mean, to go on what you just said, I mean, when I was running my old Defiler campaign with the 26 players, I mean, those are 12 to 14-hour game sessions. We were all young and insane. So, play from 7 at night till like 9 or 10 the next morning. So, yeah, I'm into Epic as well.
The last game I ran was when I was in Germany, and they only gave me 6 hours, and I really felt like I was under a time crunch. I was like, man, okay, well, 6 hours. And those sessions at the 6-hour mark, I was like, I'm ready for more. And they're like, yeah, I got things to do. We got to go. And I'm like, dang it. So,
well,
but everybody's style is different.
Well, and for me, I'm just different, right? Because I can sit on a panel or I can do an interview like this. And I can go for a long time. It doesn't really grind me. But if I'm in a game and it's to be presented to others, I don't know. It's it was kind of goes back to like Heathen Dog asked me if I could join for that Call of Cthulhu game. And in the middle of this whole Kickstarter, I was like, I didn't have the energy to game and I don't know, have my game face on for 4 hours. But then I came on your live stream for an hour and I was like, oh, we're just chilling. I can answer questions all day long, right? And that's just something about my personality and energy levels. So
I get it. Yep. All right, let's just say, do I put more money into Kickstarter or do a couple of Palladium Christmas packages?
Oh, that's a tough one.
I would say, so here's the deal. The Kickstarter, if there's exclusive stuff you want, get that now.
I agree.
Just to be honest, the Palladium Christmas package, it's going to be around next year, right? Yep. And you're going to be able to get the same books, but there's a lot of stuff in this Kickstarter I just don't want fans to miss out on.
I agree completely. On one hand, with the surprise package, you can get a bunch of cool stuff and it's fun and exciting and it is a surprise because you're never sure what you're going to get. So it's fun, but right now there's so much cool stuff
and there's stretch goals. So that's the other thing when, people were like, oh, you guys don't have a lot of stretch goals. Well, the new stretch goals are all at 100,000. Mm-hmm. So we're really trying to incentivize people at the last minute to upgrade their pledge or jump in if they weren't going to jump in otherwise. So now is a great time to jump in and help us break some of those stretch goals and unlock a lot of really cool stuff.
Absolutely.
So.
Okay. At the Radical Rogue level, just how many minis, including the Fugitoid, are included?
Well, it's both miniature sets. So I think each one is 8 and 9, but with Fugitoid, that would be 9 for the Heroes set at this point, I believe. Because you've got the 4 tMNT, Casey Jones,
Splinter. 9 or 10.
Yeah.
The other one's like 10 or 11.
And there's 2 Utroms and their robot bodies, and then Fugitoid. So I believe that's 9. And then I believe it's 9 for the villain set until we unlock like Doc Farrell and the Triceraton, which are lined up. So.
Okay. Yep. Just reading about the Triceratons now.
So the Terror Bears are a little smaller than the Turtles. So we're giving you like an extra Terror Bear.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So the villain set has like one more mini because the Terror Bears are small.
Yeah.
It's all about size. BioKiddos asked if they can give basics on the stretch goal adventure. Has it even been outlined yet?
We've been talking with Sophie about it, but I mean, it's not completely written or anything yet. No, we want to lock. I mean, that'd be locking us into something it's a stretch goal.
So
And
it's about
it's a
these
true
things.
stretch goal. It's a true stretch goal of it doesn't exist yet. You know, it's small, it's short, it's an intro adventure with pre-generated characters. So if you liked the Titan Robotics, we did an intro adventure with pre-generated characters. If you enjoyed that, it's the same kind of offering, right? So you can jump in with we're going to have the turtles available as, you know, easily printed out pre-generated characters, right? That you could take to a con or introduce to your friends at your local gaming group or whatever, and that's the idea. But it's a short, on 8.5 by 11 pages, maybe like 3 to 4 pages total. You know, maybe a little more.
Yeah, it depends.
It just depends, but it's not written yet. You know, so but it's designed to be a, you know, you play one good, you know, short 2 to, depending on how fast you play, and
kind of a convention adventure,
3-hour type of session.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it might be longer than that. It's hard to say. And we've kicked around a variety of different ideas, back and forth, and we think we know where we want to go, but you know, that might change, which is why I don't want to say, oh yeah, it'll start in our time.
because as soon as you say one thing, everybody's going to lock in on that.
It's likely to involve the Sparrow Eagles.
Oh, cool.
So, I mean, Sophie's a big fan of the Sparrow Eagles and Trans D, of course, and so it's probably going to have some of those themes. But we don't want to lock into something that, you know, we're just not 100% on. So I hope you don't mind the honest answer.
No, I want the honest answer. Forget chat.
But I mean, but I will say, hey, if you know, the fans really enjoyed the Titan Robotics introductory adventure, and I think you'll really enjoy this adventure too, because you know, Sophie writes, you know, great stories in the comics that have, and then she's working with Kevin to make something really cool for people to enjoy, as you know, dip their toe into this. So,
unless I missed something in chat, I think this one's about miniatures. But what was the deal with Usagi Yojimbo?
People keep asking about if we can include Usagi Jimbo, and the answer so far is no. I mean,
it's a completely different IP owned by a completely different.
Yeah, one of the things is we did get permission to put, you know, Fugitoid in here as a stretch goal, you know, but part of the bonus of that is that, you know, he's already depicted in some of the art in the comics and stuff. So, you know, and it's technically a separate IP, but it's very closely related because it was also created by, you know, Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman. So, but you know, Usagi Jimbo is something completely different, and people keep asking about it. And I've said I'm taking notes and I'm asking the questions to our licensors. You also have to understand that I've been sending back and forth like a bajillion emails with them. So I actually asked the question, and I don't know if they saw it because it was in the middle of a completely different conversation. You know,
it was more pressing.
Yeah, there's way more pressing stuff going on. So, you know, I'm taking notes for the future, but
you know, will Stan appear as one of our contributing artists? Maybe. Will it include Usagi Yojimbo? Maybe. That's, you know, a lot of this stuff is still kind of in the works.
Yeah.
But, you know, can we say for sure? No.
So many moving parts.
Yeah, we'd love to include him in this or other future stuff, but you know, we can't make any promises on this, and it's there's just a lot of stuff going on that's, you know, like getting you the full page 2-page spread previews. I mean, that's how they're going to look in the book when you open the book. That's the whole idea, right? That's why I wanted to make sure that they weren't just presented as single pages; they're 2-page spreads. You know, that's, you know, to me that's really important. So, you know, other stuff has taken a back priority, but we're listening. So,
all right. Let's see. What was this one? What is it like to pour over and update Eric Wujcik's work that's 40 plus years old?
Well, I mean, he's a freaking legend. I mean, and you know, for me as a kid, that this is the first RPG I ever owned and personally read. I mean, I played D&D with some of my buddies. I played some West End Star Wars, but it's kind of surreal because I grew up reading Eric Wujcik stuff, and obviously I was reading it at the time, you know, close to the time it was written. But now I go back, and I'm not a kid anymore. Obviously, I've studied game design, and I've been working in the industry for a while. I'm a writer, and also, you know, gaming parlance has changed. So it's kind of interesting because some of that stuff, it's just like slightly different turns of phrase that are a little older. and so some of that I'll change, but in general, like this stuff it's just really solid, a lot of times, like when it comes down, like you saw on the page with the basic combat rules and initiative, it's just, how can I break this out a little more and bold the different scenarios? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just more of a little bit of a presentation difference, not a rewrite in any sense of the word. I mean, Eric was an amazing writer and an amazing game designer. He was a true genius when it came to game design.
I mean, my goal is I'm not trying to change anything that I don't think Eric would I'm trying to do what I think Eric would do if he was part of the project, or if he was going to review it and edit it himself, right? So that's how Kevin and I are approaching this whole thing. Is a lot of this is a huge homage to Eric, and also Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, right? And I mean, they're still with us, fortunately, but this is a huge homage to all, and Kevin's original concept and everyone else involved, and so that's been an honor to take the lead on that.
Yeah, we've actually gotten some inquiries from people saying, well, are you going to talk about Eric in the book? And it's like, of course we are. I mean,
how could you not?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, his name's still on the freaking cover. Of course we're acknowledging Eric and his contributions, and there'll be, one of the things I'm going to be writing up is, in fact, I already have a loose outline for, is the history of the books, how it happened, how Eric got involved. I've talked about it in various interviews already, but there'll be much more detail, and it'll be fun. And Eric was one of my closest, dearest friends, so of course he's going to be remembered in this.
Yeah. Well, this is just for me, it's a huge passion project, and it comes full circle, since this is how I got into role playing, how I got in and found Palladium. But it was funny because first I did this, then I did Ninjas and Super Spies. So I actually read a lot of Eric Wujcik before I started reading Kevin Simbita, when I got into riffs and things like that. But yeah, no, I mean, there's just a lot of respect for that original material, but at the same time, we do want it to feel fresh and not new as in something completely new, but yeah,
polished.
Like a polished modern product. Again, the Redux is, we thought when we finally found that term, we felt like that really fit what we're trying to do here.
Okay.
Is the director's cut with obviously the director's absent, right? But we're doing our best to do what we think he.
So we can get 7 versions like Blade Runner.
No, you're getting a lot of variant covers. So kind of.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, and you're getting the black, white, and red edition. I mean, it is kind of like having different endings or presentation of core story elements. So,
all right, Law Dog here says.
By the way, I just got a text from Jeff, so we'll be posting that update very soon.
Oh, sweet. That's awesome. Again,
liaison.
Exclusive here. We had it first.
You had it
That's
first.
I'm sticking to it. Law Dog says, this looks amazing. And Legion of Myth, I blame you for my poverty. Don't worry. I'm in the doghouse already as it is. So you can blame me all you want. Since finally you guys have given Kevin and Sean about $1,000 and the number keeps climbing. So there we go.
Well, we hope you enjoy everything we've given you in return.
I know you will.
Thank you.
I know you will. Thank you so much.
Oops, gotta get rid of that one.
You won't be disappointed.
I debated putting this one up or not because I think the answer is pretty simple, but a few people asked it, so I'm going to put up.
Sure.
Have perception roles been added to this book?
I've had people asking about that. We haven't added them yet.
But we might.
We might. I mean, I don't know if that's, maybe you should do a poll. I don't know. We we're not against it, but
I will say I've been using perception roles more and more as I write more recent books, over the last few years. So I can see why people might want them. They're kind of a nice element. Whether we put them in this, I'm not sure, because I mean they weren't an aspect of the original game, although it wouldn't unbalance it at all. So,
right.
Maybe.
My opinion, for what it's worth, because I got a bully pulpit right now, is I wouldn't want it in this book simply because personally I just like it to stay as much the original as possible. But going forward, since it's in Dead Rain or something, if especially if you've been adding it to the games, I think that should be in like every book going forward. But I'm just one weirdo's opinion. So
I don't know. When I was a kid, we didn't. we basically handled everything through like prowl rolls and stuff, if that was necessary.
Yeah. If you failed something, then you were noticed. Yeah.
Through role playing or detect ambush.
I sneak in, or for me in a role playing game, if my group walked into a room and they're all talking and goofing around and stuff, then no, they don't notice shit. But if you got that one guy going, well, everyone else is talking and goofing around, I'm looking around, do I see X, Y, and Z? Then guess what, you do, because you're making that effort.
Palladium was designed as a more narrative, right? I mean, it's explicitly narrative system, but
I do like perception rolls, and that was a concept by C.J. Corolla that was first introduced in Nightbane.
Nightbane, okay. I thought folks here said Dead Rain, but
it's also in Dead Rain.
It's in Dead Rain. It's been, like I said, I've been adding it to more and more things.
Okay.
Much more frequently, because it's something people really seem to enjoy and gravitate to. I think it's very intuitive. Roll a die. Do I notice this or that? And I think it's easy for the game master too, where instead of having to sit down and think about it, he can just go, you made your roll. Yes, you see this, or no, you don't see nothing.
Gotcha. Folks, we're coming up on the 2-hour mark, and I didn't actually want to have a 4-hour live stream, but I've just got a few more things to do, so we're going to change. As long as these gentlemen are willing to stay, I want to change a little bit, because there are still some Palladium things to talk about. And I definitely want to talk about the Megaversal Ambassador. I'm not holding you guys here. If you need to go, I know you guys are really busy. You can make the decision.
No, this is important to us. I mean, getting the word out, right, is really important to us. And
and I want to say, Max, you and Heathen Dog do a really great job. You ask insightful questions, and one of the things we have in our Christmas surprise package, when people fill that out and give us a list of 12 or 15 things, we have a comment section, and I have to say, we get a lot of your viewers saying, man, I love it when you and Sean are on the show.
Oh, wow.
We love the stuff that Max and Heathen Dog are doing, how they talk about Palladium stuff. They make it fun. They make it in depth. They make it, we've gotten a lot of really, really, really positive feedback. Honestly, I don't think there's a single day of grab bags where at least one person doesn't mention, I learned about this from a Legion of Myth, or thank you for coming to the Legion of Myth. So
thank you, chat. That's you guys that are doing that. I appreciate that. I'm not good at taking compliments, so I'll say thank you. But no, I really do appreciate that. But I don't tell people to do it. I think I've suggested a couple of times, like, hey, because we do it everywhere. Like, go watch the show. Tell them Legion of Myth sent you. But
no. This is not that kind of thing. This has been, man. We appreciate you being on there.
That's
keep
great.
Coming on the show. We really enjoy it. So, we're happy to do that.
I appreciate that. Well, I know you guys, like I said, I know you guys are busy, so I don't want to usurp your time, but I do have some more questions to knock out here. And these are ones that keep coming up. These are generic Palladium ones. Again, I know you've answered a few of these even on our show, but they keep coming up. And especially with the new tMNT coming up, people are starting, how people forward think, like, oh, what does this mean going forward? The first one is this. I think I get this one the most. Does this mean we're going to eventually get Palladium Fantasy RPG 3rd edition? And now, before you answer, please no 3rd edition. A revised, a Redux revised, whatever. Whatever condition. I know some people love first, some people love second, but as is for me is good enough. But I could see it getting this same type of love. What are your thoughts on that?
So, as everyone should know by now, our policy is really not to talk about our future.
Oh, I stepped right for 2 seconds and you start pulling this crap?
Yes, I did.
And so, so everyone, that's the 5-year plan.
We're cutting off the stream.
Thanks for asking, Max.
I'm sorry.
We're coming out with, you have all the in-depth secrets now, everyone. No, Sean.
What was the question?
Go ahead.
Like I was telling him, I'm going to use the disclaimer on this one as much as I love those, right? Because of the fact this is the number one question I am asked. And now they're tying it in with the tMNT thing, which is Palladium Fantasy 3rd Edition going to be a thing? So
well, we don't talk about future releases.
There we go.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Oh, by the way, I just posted the update. So if the fans will do us a favor, if you notice that I misspelled anything, if there's any typos that somehow our team missed, please let me know. I can still update it for the next 25 minutes. So we have 30 minutes I can make updates. So if you look at the update and you see any mistakes in there, please let us know so I can go fix it before it's permanent. So, but yeah, just wanted to get that out there so that fans can see it. And also one of the things that's cool in there is you can see Kevin Eastman's drawing for the new cover, the new variant cover. It's
his color rough.
It looks freaking, it's amazing. He really knows how to put something together, put together a composition.
All right, we'll take a look at that in just a moment. I have it saved here. On the same vein, and Sean and I think we've talked about this. I don't know if Kevin, you were on that, but a Palladium starter set, something like, and my take is this tMNT thing is almost that, because if you compare it to say Rifts, tMNT is a stripped down version of it.
That's the whole idea, right? I mean, Kevin originally designed this book, right? I mean, it's very different than a lot of Palladium games because it was designed to be eminently approachable, quickly playable, has a lot of tons of adventure material and NPCs in it, really fun character building rules, and so we're really glad that everyone's excited about what's coming next. And just rest assured, I mean, one of our big focuses is Kevin being able to write the books that only Kevin can write, but also doing a lot of the stuff that you guys have in mind. So again, we're not ready to announce anything specific yet.
I want to say, despite some rumors to the contrary, we are always listening very intently to what you guys want, what you guys would love to see.
Yep.
So, we listen to our fan base, and maybe we can't do it as quick as you would like, or we do it in a different way. But we're hearing you, we're doing it. The tMNT book's an example of that. The us doing hardcovers of our existing books are examples of that. There's all kinds of examples.
Yeah, the updates you're seeing that we've just discussed in some of the text, for instance, those are direct requests.
So
from
we
fans,
listen and we hear you,
right? And we felt like this was a great opportunity to prototype and try out some of this stuff.
And we will keep in mind and consider just about anything.
And I do run a playtest game, right? And so there's things that we've been trying out and knocking around. So, and Kevin and I have a lot of long discussions and big plans. So yeah, we're really excited to do a lot of the things that people are asking about, but we also want to make sure it's in the right timing. There's a lot of things we want to do. There's a lot of things that we have to do internally that, without boring the shit out of our fans, or talking about stuff that, like going into business details on, book printing costs and stuff. I mean, but you have to grok some of that to grok the rest of why we're structuring things we are. But if you're happy about what you're seeing, if you're excited about getting Titan Robotics and seeing all the different remaster work on the PDFs, if you're excited about the new layouts, if you're excited about this new color work and full color layout, right? And these hardcovers, this is our plans unfolding. So we're glad you backed at the Time Lord too. But it's cool because Time Lord, you get every stretch goal, you get it. But isn't that really cool?
I'm just gonna keep that up for a while.
I have no problem with that. So we were waiting forever to see this thing, and again, you have to understand, this is a labor of love for everybody. Including so Kevin when we finally got this, or just before we got this, Kevin, emails us and says, "Look, I have to apologize for this taking so long. I really want it to be special. I want it to." And
he's been at conventions. I don't know when this guy sleeps.
Yeah,
he went to the dedication of their hometown memorial marker
with Peter Laird every Sunday.
Right.
I mean, it's like, anyways, he's like, I've been kicking around a bunch of ideas, but I'm not really happy with them. It's going to be like another week. I hope you guys don't mind. We're like, no, man, make it everything you want it to be, because he wanted it to kind of also homage the original cover,
But not be the same.
Be very different at the same time. And oh baby,
I mean, it's his creation. If he wants to make it better, who's going to say no?
Right. So I mean, yeah, I mean, and again, he insisted on doing a new cover painting. I mean, we weren't even going to ask, you know. Well, we probably were going to ask, but we weren't going to insist. You know what I mean? We were trying to really carefully feel out his availability and what he has time for.
Well, and Sean's right. I mean, we really assumed that Kevin would not have the time to do something like this, which is why we reached out to Freddie and had him do both covers for the main book. And then the first words out of Kevin's mouth were, I want to do a new cover painting. And we're like, fantastic. You know, and everyone's heard the story where Sean's like, oh, but Kev, we already have this amazing cover and we don't want to piss off Freddie. And then I'm like, it's all right, Sean, we'll do a variant. And then he's like, well, but then we need a variant for the other book. And I'm like, Sophie's dying to do a cover. We'll have
he's like, don't you remember last week? Sophie was like, I really want to do a cover for this, and I was like, you know, Kevin, it's perfect, you know, and they're happy,
and you're happy, the fans, and we're
Absolutely,
happy. Everyone's happy.
It's exciting, and but at the same time, we just didn't. I mean, we've been bowled over by the enthusiasm from all the creators, all the team creators that have been involved. And we had no idea that Sophie plays Palladium every week. I mean, that's like, I was like, no way. And it's been crazy. You know, we knew Freddie Williams, you know, was a Palladium fan. We know that Stephen Cummings is a Palladium gamer, you know, but there's, but there's certain people we hadn't met Sophie before.
Yeah, right. And I'm reading her comics, you know, and I'm loving her work, but and I do see the homages to it, but, you know, somehow it never dawned on me that she was actively playing tMNT or Heroes Unlimited and Ninjas and Super Spies.
What I like to hear from that is, I mean, in my experience, riffs. You get the occasional Beyond the Supernatural or Heroes Unlimited or something in there, but it's riffs, Robotech, riffs, Robotech. I love the fact that I'm hearing that she plays Heroes Unlimited.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, and like I said, her knowledge of After the Bomb and tMNT, it's pretty encyclopedic. So that's always fun.
Well, and she also plays Palladium Fantasy, and she's apparently obsessed with troglodytes.
Yes,
so
yes, that's right.
She made me promise that the next time I do something with troglodytes, that she gets to illustrate it.
So, it's been really exciting and great. And again, I know some fans were frustrated when they couldn't see everything at the beginning, but it really was just, we announced the project, you know, when it was official, and then the reception has just been spectacularly, and even amongst the creatives, just explosive enthusiasm. That's amazing. So anything you create, you don't go into it going, gee, this is probably going to suck, you know. I mean, we were really excited about this, but it's just gone next level. It's
I mean, honestly, it is more than we had imagined. I mean we were hoping that, you know, Kev would be involved, and Pete, and, you know, some of the other artists, but we had no idea when we reached out to people whether they would say yes or no to doing a tribute page, or, you know, whether they would just shit something out, or whether they turn into masterpieces.
And then there's artists clawing their way toward, like Mike Ruth, you know, talking to Freddie Williams and going, I want to do one.
Yeah, how do I get in?
It's like, you're in, man. Like,
they're clawing in through the window like terror bears.
Yeah.
Just for the folks who sent a couple of super chats in, I'm going to get to those, but those are going to be in a moment, because I want to stay on this theme here as we keep that image on the screen. Two other questions. Now, these are one of these I really agree with, and I wanted to word it well. One of the complaints I got, maybe I shouldn't say complaint, but suggestions, I guess, was that I got, and I was like, really, I'm on board with this one, is how do you run a game or explain riffs while using more SDC. And the example this guy gave was, look, every time you go into a town, what is the point of SDC? Because the shotgun doesn't matter. SDC vehicles don't matter. Everybody's running around with Wilkes, 4.4 or whatever, sevens.
Well, shotgun doesn't matter unless you load it with like triax shells.
Well,
but let me jump in here, if you don't mind.
Let me just make a comment too, because the shotgun's a great example. Is if you're going up against SDC opponents, you really need that. And if you're going up against opponents like, say, a vampire or a werewolf that's affected by silver, and you got a silver load in your shotgun or your pistol or your rifle, it very much comes into play. If you're hunting, to feed yourself,
you don't want to
vaporize a deer. Exactly what I was going to say. It's. You got to play the game with a little bit of nuance and think about what your environment
is. Because you're essentially wielding an anti-tank cannon, right?
And it's funny, we've been kind of talking about this lately.
No, well, I was going to say, so it's so funny because you were talking about the previous conversation we had about you want a space opera, but like
we're going to talk about that after the stream.
Let me talk. Space, like a Star Trek style space exploration that's SDC. But the funny thing, as I said to Kevin, is the funny thing is the original Star Trek and especially the Next Generation, because I grew up watching a lot of that, right? That was my first contact was Star Trek. And here's the deal: when I saw people get vaporized by a phaser or a disruptor or whatever,
MDC.
That's how I explained MDC to my players. I said, this is what happens if you're not wearing MDC armor and you get hit by, a plasma rifle or a particle beam weapon. That's what happens. It's like what happened to that guy and so, or like I think it's in one of the Star Trek movies. There's a bunch of episodes that has stuff like this when Data just like lifts a giant boulder and crushes someone, or he was in one of the movies, he vaporizes a town's water plant or whatever. And he just sets his phaser for like, I don't know, maximum. And he's like, doop. Yeah. And he's like, hey, just sent you guys back to the Stone Age. You want to screw with me more? And so, that to me, that was so riffs. So it's just kind of funny that you were like, focusing on Star Trek being SDC. I think the thing is a game master needs to carefully monitor what's going on. When it's a fist fight on the, when the bridge crew all get some virus and they all become hyper aggressive and get into a fist fight, it's SDC, but even in their fevered minds, pulling a phaser and atomizing one of their crewmates is something that doesn't come to mind. As gamers, that's a little more nuanced than what especially new role players might do. But I mean, I don't know. When I played a campaign in Phase World, I remember they were in a section where the characters weren't armed with a lot of mega damage stuff, and one of the characters didn't have mega damage armor, and I'm like, okay, you're chasing this guy. The spy snuck a mega damage, basically a Derringer, one of the Nerudi Derringers, into a spaceport at Phase World, and I said, if you get shot, your character could die. We're gonna go straight by these, these rules. And his character ended up bleeding out in the middle of a hallway after getting shot by a mega damage Derringer, right? And then another hero barely survived the fight, with like a concealed vibroblade or something, or maybe it was a bionic vibroblade. But he and his other character just were kicking the crap out of each other. But landing a blow with a mega damage weapon was a real big deal in that fight. So yeah, that's how I think you handle it.
It is tricky, and FYI to everybody, I have no problem if you just want to ignore mega damage or go with the SDC times 10 or SDC times 100.
Or 5 or whatever works for you,
or
right?
just even straight, the thing's got, Glitter Boy 700 MDC, and you just make it 700 SDC, and maybe give it a high AR armor rating, so nothing under a 19 does any effect.
And that's
to it.
The conversion book.
I mean, it's
conversion book 1,
cool.
Has a lot of great stuff for that too, if you want to do that in your campaigns. And
this hits it right on the head. players GMs defaulting to MDC characters, MD weapons for every scenario. And what I think that's kind of what you guys are saying too. It's like you got to have that nuance. You've got to play it right. But I can tell you, I shouldn't say the word right. You should play it more creatively. There we go. There's the word.
Or carefully consider in the story structure how that impacts things.
But trying to pull those MDC weapons from characters, or MDC armor and MD weapons from characters is a challenge because they don't want to give them up. I'm not taking off my armor. I mean, Heathen Dog says this really well.
Hey, you can't go into the town. Right. You can't buy food.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done that relentlessly with my players where it's like, even if it's just a wilderness town where you just can't carry long arms and you can't be wearing like heavy body armor. You know, I've made that very clear to them. I'm like, hey, you can wear medium or below. You can have a sidearm, you know, a knife, but you can't bring in your automatic grenade launcher.
I wish I had pointed that out more in some of the writing that I had done where, in my mind, there's a lot of towns, just like, you know, Northern Gun, where, and you see it in cowboy movies where it's like, I'm sorry, sir, you have to turn in your gun until you leave town, right? Because we're a peaceable town. You know, I figure a lot of towns and stuff. Yeah. Like in my mind, every town, no matter how large or small, you know, large towns have an army or militia. You know these
city
little
gates
towns,
and things like that. And
these little towns and communities, they got to have some kind of champion.
And you're an outsider.
Well, exactly. And so, you know, and if you say, well, you know, F you, I'm not going to turn over my gun or take off my armor. They've got some champion who may be a cyber knight or a metamorphed dragon or, you know, a glitter boy or a cyborg gunslinger who's going to say, well, I'm the sheriff here.
Or a glitter boy and his cyber gunslinger buddy and his hatchling dragon buddy. Right. And by the way, they've got other buddies that if you just murder them out of hand, are going to come after you, and now you're the bad guys.
But I never really spelled that out, and I wish I had. That's one of those things that I can go back that would appear in one of the first world books or someplace. It just for me it was common sense.
For me, Rifts always felt very Wild West because it's an unruly America.
Yep.
And I'm from Texas, right? And I've consumed a whole lot of Wild West stuff, right? So I would just say that, I think if you want to know how to handle this, go watch some of the old great Westerns, and you can see how to handle a lot of this stuff in these kind of contexts. And and go watch those movies. I mean, murdering people has consequences. I mean, that's how you get whole plot lines for movies, and Old West stuff is about getting a posse when someone just guns someone down out of hand, or unfairly or whatever. And so I think that's a perfect way to approach it. It
takes a little effort on the game master side to have that verisimilitude, so to speak, to say, hey, not everybody runs around with MD weapons, but you anger enough people, they'll call in somebody who can.
Right. And I think take your cue from I mean, I know a lot of people are genuinely asking these questions. They're not trying to be obtuse. And so I'm saying, definitely that might be a great starting point for you. Go watch some classic Clint Eastwood movies, right? And some classic John Wayne movies. And you're going to start to understand. I mean, in essentially too, if you go watch some old Akira Kurosawa stuff, if you didn't have a katana and you weren't highly trained in like how to use your farm implements like a nunchuck to fight people or a bow staff, a katana in ancient Japan or medieval Japan was equivalent to a mega damage weapon, right? It just starts taking limbs off and killing people in a couple of blows. So just kind of keep that stuff in context if you can, and that can help you out, I think.
I agree with everything, and I've never had a problem handling it, but I do understand, because you know how gamers are when it comes to the books. They want that power fantasy, and that's me. That's me as well. So they're going to try to find a way, or like, I don't want to talk about other games here, but Earth Dawn was one where my friend Bob, he was like, why do I have to have a spell book on me? And even the creator of the game says a mage would never get rid of his spell book. It's his journal. It's because you don't have to memorize like in Dungeons and Dragons in that game. It's his journal. It's all his notes. It's basically everything about him. And there's this thing where he pretty much binds it to himself. And Bob's like, then why would I ever have it on me? It doesn't make sense. Like you're not understanding the nuance of this, Bob. This is who you are.
Yeah, you're trying to power game and you're ignoring the plot.
Exactly.
Right. And that's not role playing.
Well, and I don't know if
you're playing a role.
Stop me if you already talked about this, but I mean, also game masters think about consequences. If you got people who came to town and they're all decked out in all their gear and they just start blowing people away or doing whatever they want,
they're the baddies. They're the villains.
Yeah, your heroes just became the bad guys. They're the ruly cowboy gang that just rode into town, hooting and hollering and shooting, and getting drunk and causing trouble. And they're going to get their butts kicked by somebody.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, look at the Mandalorian. Look at Star Wars. I mean, a lightsaber is mega damage, right? The Mandalorian's was it Boba Fett's disintegration rifle? The Mandalorian, that big 2-prong plasma type rifle he has.
The armor.
The armor. I mean, that's all examples of what happens when people are wielding really high damage weapons in a mixed environment, right? So that's the basics of how to handle it.
I gotcha. I had another question here. How do you guys handle going the opposite direction, MDC to SDC? Now there are conversion books for that, first of all, but how would you like somebody like me? Now I've done this before, but see what your answer is on this. I'll take something out of Rifts and put it into After the Bomb.
Use the conversion book one, has great SDC conversions.
Yeah.
Just what fits.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's okay to not be specific. Like, oh, did I get this down to the point right? I don't even do that. When I bring it over, I just look at like, okay, these guys got 100, 150 SDC. They could probably handle a creature like this. So if I bring this over, well, it's got 700 MDC. Yeah, I think 700 SDC works for main body, but let's tweak the limbs a little bit.
That's been the approach for a while too. Like, so, if you want to take like some of the monsters out of the Rift's Bestiary 1 and use them in your Palladium fantasy game or whatever, they don't do mega damage. They just do SDC, and they don't have mega damage. They just have SDC.
Yeah, in fact, it says it in the books. I just have it so that, the easy thing to do is,
right back.
To just figure, if it does, 46 MDC in an SDC world, it does 46 SDC. And again, use your logic. If it's big and huge and, it's the size of a freaking elephant, maybe that should be, double that or,
sure,
1d6 times 10. What saddens me a little bit, I see a lot of younger and more modern players afraid to modify things and be flexible. And they shouldn't be afraid to do that. Just, make your decision and stick with it and listen to your players. If it's working, you did a good job. And if it's not working, think about it and tweak it for your next game. And
think about the repercussions too in this way. One of my favorite games, it was so off the cuff. We were using... we're playing Savage Rifts. I didn't mind to cut you off if you...
No, you're...
Okay, cool.
You're good.
We were playing Savage Rifts, and one of my friends, they were making a navigation roll, and they critically failed it. And I was like, uh-oh, something goes wrong. They got lost in the wilderness, and then I rolled for a random event, and they ended up getting a ley line storm that it had explosive, unstable rifts, and they're popping, and one of the heroes got pulled into this thing, and then the rest of the group was like, oh no, and they like turned their vehicle around and went and drove into the unstable rift after him to save him, right? And they get to the other side, and there's a bunch of great tables in the Savage Rifts Game Master's Handbook for stuff like this, but I was like, okay guys, give me like 10 minutes, let's take a snack break or whatever. I rolled some stuff on tables, and they were in an alternate, they were near that location but in an alternate Earth and in the 1800s. And I was like, okay, what can I do here? They were south. They were near that. They were working for the Tomorrow Legion, and so they were basically in the Louisiana area. And I said, okay, Louisiana Purchase hasn't happened yet. This there's like other dimensional dangers and Cthulhu type threats is one of the things I rolled. And then I said, you know what, Napoleon still controls this territory, but there's magic. So he and his court wizard. So Napoleon, they saved some French soldiers and some Native American warriors from that are fighting these like Cthulhu type monsters. And then they end up going to New Orleans, and then Napoleon shows up with an army, and they have to fight these bad guys, this demonic invasion, and they need to defeat them because the chthonic enemy is trying to open a portal to an evil dimension. But the court wizard's like, if you can help us take that hill where the nexus point is, I can send you home instead. And so they had this huge mass battle. It was a lot of fun, but at the very end, Napoleon was like, "Hey, can I have
your stuff?
This treasure? We're going to get you back to your home, but can I have a pistol from you? Can I have a sample of your armor? Can I have this item and that item?" Because he wanted to try and like reverse. Yeah. And so you just think about stuff like that, right? And the players were like, they did a whole thing to try and keep from giving him or not reveal how advanced some of their stuff was. And it led to a lot of fun role playing, right? And a lot of my buddies, we had a really great campaign, but they said that was one of their favorite adventures. And it was this one that was just completely procedurally generated and off the cuff. But go big or go home is what I say. And it worked well. But keep things like that in mind, because when you do crossovers, if someone can, if somebody with enough industrial knowledge or whatever can get a hold of the right techno-wizardry item even, or energy weapon or whatever, I mean, that could be a big deal.
We become alternate history.
Exactly. Exactly. So,
by the way, kids, this is why you study history and Cthulhu.
But you're absolutely right.
The perfect marriage of both insanity.
Well, that's the thing too, is when you're building these things and doing these things, draw from everything. Draw from your favorite comic books. Draw from your favorite the movies. Draw from your favorite time in history,
and that's
or weird events, or urban myths, or everything. Everything
right.
is a resource that you, as a game master, can draw upon and weave into your games.
And, yeah, there's something that Kevin and I have talked about we want to do more in the future, but we really enjoyed, and we tried to call it out a little more clearly, and it doesn't sound like a lot of text, but in Titan Robotics, one of the things is, one of the chapters is all about, hey, here's all the crazy stuff. I think it's like chapter 4 or 5, all the crazy stuff that can ensue that just could basically change the timeline for your game as a result of, this is what to do in case your character's actions, affect the whole Archie and Cyberworks paradigm, right? And the plot, and unveil it. Or this could be the alternate setting for your entire campaign, where this thing has become public knowledge. And now it's Rifts, but it's got this twist on that specific subset of Archie and Cyberworks and things like the Shimerians and things like that. So just try and think like that. Kind of think like, it's like kind of like that old TV show Sliders. What can you do that's going to be fun? You can have a lot of fun with alternate dimensions and stuff like that. So on alternate timelines, either to set up your game or as a result of your game, right? And your players' actions. So
got it. Cool. Well, I hope that helps answer that. The last question I had, that's generic Palladium books related, and this is one I also thought about for a while, deciding, like, do I want to answer or ask it? Heathen Dog and I have talked about this a bit, but in talking with other people, let's just say they don't agree. We're fine with low attributes. Like, because basically, Rift's Ultimate Edition changes a little bit, but between 3 and 8, or 3 and 16, or 15, sorry, 3 and 15, there's no difference. So who cares? You can have a 12, you can have an 8, you can have a 15. But man, the amount of characters or players that we talked, like, I always roll 4d6, re-roll ones, like these power cube characters. We're always like, why? Because if you're rolling like a Wolfen or something, you got 4d6 for this attribute, you're not doing that. Or if you got 2d6 for this other attribute, you're not doing that. Right. Why is it with this 3d6 you all feel you need to have these souped up characters? And again, I get it. It's power fantasy. But the actual question is this.
Yeah, what's the question?
How would you explain to people that, look, low attributes aren't bad, and how can you play a low attribute character and still be viable and have fun in the game?
It's called role playing. You have to stop and think a little bit about what makes your character interesting and what his strengths and weaknesses are and how he fits into that environment. It requires you to think a bit more about your character, which for me, that's what role playing is all about. It's about character and story. So here's a great example of that. Julius always liked rolling up with his original, just his dice rolls. And so he has this, it's funny you mentioned Wolfen, he had a Wolfen character. And he was a powerhouse. It was like a 28 strength, or maybe it was 28 speed and like a 24 or 23 strength. And IQ was 5. And he played him kind of childlike in the sense that he didn't always get the idea of what's going on, but the character was still a team player, used very simple logic. So, for example, they got bushwhacked inside this cabin, and Julius's Wolfen character grabs this heavy oaken chair, and just coincidentally, you know how role-playing games are, it was beautiful, just is rolling these high rolls to hit, rolling these high rolls to damage. So when the battle's done, the Wolfen is like, this chair is great! And he ties it to his back, and it's one of his weapons now. Because when he gets into a battle and needs blunt weapons, he grabs his chair that kicked ass. And that was his, and it was fun, and it was funny, and it made total sense, and it made this character an interesting character, even though, compared to the rest of the group, he was dumb as a brick. But he also didn't do stupid things. Just because you have a low IQ doesn't mean that you're necessarily a moron or just walk around doing idiotic things. Although you can have fun with that too. I had an NPC, Fearless, who he was basically a junkie with high ideals. and he always saw himself as a paladin, and he wasn't the brightest guy on the planet either. And like when a group said, you're not a paladin, because, people, guys who are real paladins are like, what the hell? You're not a paladin. He's like, I am a paladin, and I can prove it. And he pulls out this scroll that he can't read and shows it, because he paid like 100 gold to be a paladin, and it's right there. It says it, and the characters who could read, it's like, sure enough, it says, you're a paladin, but it's horseshit. But the character believed in it, and the character behaved like a paladin, because that was his goal.
That's awesome.
He was always heroic. He would do dumbass things and get the group in trouble, and in fact, even being a paladin would get him in trouble sometimes. Because the group's like, trying to like, we'll just diffuse this and stuff. And, Fearless would step forward and be like, you lout and hand that woman. And the group's like, oh, God, here comes a bar fight we don't need. Or, oh, my gosh, it's the son of the king he's messing with. And, so I used that NPC as a vehicle to have little adventures and side adventures and things. Or to move the game along sometimes by his behavior. But, it was a way to use it, even though he was not I've got all these, high attributes. Again, if you look at all the classic characters that have ever been in whatever medium you want to point to, classic literature, film, theater, the most memorable ones are the guys who have strengths and weaknesses, who have that, foible or that unique characteristic that makes him different. And that's what you want. You want an interesting, different character.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, if you set up your game to be a power game, that's fine. But just remember, that's what you're doing, right? And if you don't want that experience, then you maybe need to change everything from how you're choosing and rolling out characters, right? And there's a lot of games out there, and Palladium actually has really great character generation. And a lot of the games like Nightbane, Heroes Unlimited. I mean, and even with Turtles, like you're rolling, you're seeing what your character, where they came from, and what your options are for the animal, and your education and all this stuff. That's a classic Palladium thing, but it's also classic like Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay is famous for. You don't start out as a knight, right? You're lucky if your guy was a bodyguard for somebody. Usually you're like a milkmaid or a stable hand or, a rat catcher or a
gravedigger, baby.
Robber. Yeah. So, and all the characters have something wrong with them. Like one of my guys, his favorite character was Ralph, the halfling. I think he was a grave robber, and he had a lazy eye, and but his best weapon and combat ability was he had a sling and stone. And so he's like, "Don't worry, guys, I got this." And they're like, "Oh no!" And they're like, "Can he even see?" But that was the whole fun part of it, right? And so, yeah, it depends on what your objective is when you're role playing. Is your objective to just how many coalition soldiers can we gun down? That's completely different than
right. And that's one of the things that I've heard.
Right?
I've heard a lot about Palladium. It's like, well, you have to have a superpowered character, otherwise you're just going to lose. And it's like, I don't find that to be true. At least in my After the Bomb games, I don't find that to be true. If that's the style you want to play, like you said, go for it.
If things get out of balance in Rifts, that's when it's going to be the most obvious. Mm-hmm. Rifts is a little more difficult to because it's a completely new setting. It's not something that's familiar from film, like say Dead Rain is zombie apocalypse, mm-hmm. right? A lot of those tropes, everyone kind of has a feel for it already. So Rifts does, it's a little more difficult on that end. And when there are imbalances, or if the game master makes a mistake, or if the players are unruly or whatever, you can get more out of control with Rifts, because everything's possible, anything's possible, right? But in general, I would say that Palladium is meant to be more of a narrative game and not a power game.
Absolutely.
And that's why you don't get XP for killing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You get XP for resolving the problem. It doesn't matter if you killed the dragon or if you just got it to stop eating the farmer's cows.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I mean, that's a rogue scholar or a glitter boy pilot could be equally as successful solving that problem.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Everybody likes the pew pew, but I think this also goes back to, and I don't want to derail the conversation, but I think it goes back to the whole thing. Like, people, the vagabond sucks. Nobody should ever play one. Like, give me that character then. Give me the character.
Might be able to solve that problem the most efficiently, right?
Yeah. Doesn't have to be solved with a gun every time.
Hundreds of thousands of credits of damages to repair on his glitter boy.
Well, and I hate to say it, I mean, some of this, falls on the game master. You need, but to me, a good game master is paying attention and deliberately trying to give every player his moment in the game. And a player can't just be dumb. For a while, I had a reputation for being in the early days of D&D of being a killer game master, because if you're a stupid jerk and you go up against impossible odds, guess what? You're gonna die.
Are we the heroes? We're supposed to win. I had somebody say that in one of my games, like Max, like, I don't understand. Like, we get into these fights, we're the heroes. It should end up with us winning, and I'm like, what? like that totally blew my mind.
No, you need to.
You ever seen I mean, Star Wars, they had to escape the Death Star. They didn't beat it from within, right? So, then Obi-Wan Kenobi gets cut in half by Darth Vader, So, I think that's and just another example. I had a game of Rifts we played, and we all chatted with the game master before we did it. We wanted to do something that was more Mad Max, and we decided to do it in West Texas. And we said, okay.
Rifts Roadhogs.
No giant robots. Your character needs to fit this theme somehow. So it was a lot of like, I played a gunslinger side stalker. Another guy played basically like a a guy who is a bounty hunter, sort of, that had a power armor, but he'd stolen it, right? And all these different kind of like fun characters, but that was because we were making the characters to fit the kind of story and narrative that we wanted to enjoy. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just like I've had people talk about, they've had great campaigns where they were a dog boy squad. And they were the cannon fodder troops that got sent in.
You made Crafty your new best friend because that's his story. He loves that one. His best boy is a dog boy.
Another guy I talked to on, I think it was on the Savage Risk Facebook group, or I don't remember where it was, but someone talked about wanting to do a Chi-Town Burbs police procedural RP campaign, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that is not high-powered. That's an investigatory, right? And plot-driven Burbs tale.
Riff's Dick Tracy. I know people that would actually just say that's not how Riffs is supposed to be, and I'm like, Riffs is everything. What are you talking about? It's literally everything.
Absolutely, you can do all kinds of stuff with Riffs. That's why those characters are in there, right?
Exactly.
So the nut set, right? Like you go pull open Closure War campaign. Some of the weakest characters you could build could be the most interesting in the campaign if you do it right.
Well, because it depends on whether you're just, and I have no problem with power gamers in power-based games, and I like to have action and combat in my games, but yeah, this game session might be mostly, investigating something or in developing some contacts or figuring out the mystery or whatever the hell, but yeah, ultimately it's going to culminate into some kind of battle because my big frame of reference is comic books and action adventure movies and that kind of thing. And so, in the end, you have the showdown, right, with the big bad guys. So that's all fine, but you need to stop and think about the stories and your characters and give them opportunities to do fun things, and also be flexible to say, oh, this player just did something really clever or ingenious, but if I go forward with it, it completely changes what I had in mind. That's okay. Change it. If it's a better storyline,
don't look at it as the player getting in the way. If the player is really
getting up on you, it's
right.
not
If
a
the player is
competition.
really interacting with the story elements, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
You want your players to be locked into something that they're really excited about. And, one of my tricks is I'll tell them if people have a really creative solution for something or something really off the wall. And I'm like, okay, I've never thought about this. I'll let you do it once and you can never do it again, right?
I do the same thing. I do that exact same thing. Yep.
Because sometimes I do something that's so cool. You're like, okay, I'm not going to take this away from you, but I can see how this could be. Knights of the Dinner Table had a really good one where I think it was like there was an orc threw a turnip at somebody and it did like 1d8 damage. So then the game master was like, well, it's only the turnips from this area.
Oh,
you can't use turnips. Don't normally do that much damage. And then they wanted to farm turnips from that region, and all it was hilarious. But that's the way you kind of get around the turnip issue.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who does that. I'm good to hear somebody because I'm kind of known for saying that a lot. Like, okay, you're going to abuse this in the future if you keep going. So I'm going to let it happen now, but don't do this again. No. So, all right, let me hit a couple of super chats here because I really want to find out about the Megaversal Ambassador Program. Plus, we started getting a lot of comments about that recently. So, first super chat is thank you, Flady1. By the way, he's also the one that donated to the giveaways that I'm doing as well. Non-tMNT question here, but have you guys thought about the themed GM screens such as Wormwood, CS Military, whatever that other word is, etc.?
Nautical, but no. I would say, the whole point of a lot of the things we're doing here, whether it's the minis, which Palladium's actually, just so everyone watching knows, Palladium's got some really great resin minis for Rifts. By the way, if you haven't seen them, go check them out. I see people asking it for it all the time. It's in our web store. But miniatures, dice, GM screens, these are things that, again, this Kickstarter is a window into what we're going to be doing moving forward. So I'm not going to talk about specific coalition themed GM screen or anything, but you better believe it when we do the Rifts Antarctica crowdfunding campaign, you're probably going to see similar types of options. So
That's too much snow. I don't want that.
So, but yeah, no, I mean absolutely. That's why we're slow. We're trying to carefully push the boundaries while still having it all under control, and we're making relationships with really great, experienced vendors and companies that have been in place for a long time, so that we can keep reproducing that success. That's one of our big goals, is to work with, is to expand our offerings in a measured way.
Yeah.
Over time, with partners that are just top notch and have great track records. So,
all right. Well, Omen, I will ask your question. You'll hear this in 50 minutes, because he said he's 50 minutes behind. All right. Let me do this one, and then CBK. By the way, thank you for the super chats. Appreciate that. Can Kevin and Max do an Aaron Tarn 20-second commercial? Can Heathen Dog and Sean do a 20-second Coalition commercial?
What do you mean?
Yeah, well, Heathen Dog promote. Here's the thing. I got to say this out loud, because I think it's gone over the top. Heathen Dog knows the Coalition are the bad guys,
Right?
but his shtick on here is that they're the good guy. So, but it's kind of funny, because we push the envelope sometimes with that. In terms of, like, it would be neat, because
it would be fun if I had a Coalition officer's uniform, and it's like join the Coalition, hunt down rogue scholars, and then you had a commercial for, join the Rogue Scholar Corps. Or
there you go. Yeah.
Right.
I don't think I would be good for a commercial, but yeah, I mean, something like that would be interesting. Like, we try to do little things like that for the YouTube channel on occasion. I just don't have time for it. But it's like those shorts I made after last time you were here. Each one took like 3.5 hours to make, and I'm like, I did it after work. I'm like, crap, I'm running out of time. I got a whole other live stream I got to
Doing
get.
that stuff, doing it well is way harder than it seems.
Yeah, everything takes so much damn time. It's amazing.
We're focused on books and stuff and then closely related accessories. I mean, it's like I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, I'll just do some. I'm going to do something. It's the next Critical Role," and it's like, those guys are all not just voice actors; they're all actors who are also really good voice actors. And that guy's a great GM, and they're working with pros. And they
curate the stream. Let's be honest. They curate. I'm not saying script. No. But they do curate those to make a better episode for everybody.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I when I do a Let's Play, I make sure that the characters that people are playing are going to match the adventure, and it's going to be a viable party for that adventure, right? If it's a skill heavy or a combat heavy or whatever. I mean, or we want to show off certain things. But yeah, I mean. But anyway, my point is just that stuff isn't as easy as it looks, right? The really, really talented people make things look way easier than they are. So, I mean, that'd be cool, but that's probably a ways down the line for us. But you guys are welcome to do all types of cool stuff.
Sean, this one's for you. Back to Sean. Just got the email update. Only spotted 3 minor typos. Can't without an apostrophe instead of can't with an apostrophe. The rest looks good.
Can't?
Apparently, for your update.
Yeah.
Apparently you missed an apostrophe or something.
Yeah, he asked for people to let you know.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's been 30 minutes now.
To be fair, he actually posted this a while ago. That's my fault.
Oh, okay. Oh. Well, that's all right. It's fine. It's fine. Hey, our liaison missed it too, so.
All right. Let's talk about the Megaversal Ambassador Program. People have been asking me about it, and I know so 3 million miles away vaguely what it is. So the 3 questions are: what is it? How do people get involved? And then what are the rules, requirements, and so forth for people to be involved?
It's not an active thing that we're worried about right now.
It's a little defunct. I appreciate people's enthusiasm for that, and it's something we will definitely be readdressing. So the basic concept was, if you like to run our games and you don't mind doing demos or running game events at stores and local conventions or any convention you were attending, you let us know. We make you a Megaversal ambassador. We give you a T-shirt, and we provide like swag for or gift certificates for your games, and you would run little events and that kind of thing on a volunteer basis, and
So it's kind of like, what is it, Pathfinder Society or Adventure League or whatever that
like
was called?
Goodman Games has a really good program for people, right?
Okay.
There's some different companies that have
Right.
some types of stuff.
You know, and it'd be people who love our stuff who talk about it online and stuff, and just, you know, their extra efforts. You know, we would, you know, officially call them a Magnificent Ambassador and provide a T-shirt, and it was pretty good. It was pretty effective and pretty fun for at least a decade, and then, you know, we just kind of fell out of things, lost volunteers.
When you have volunteers that are
a lot of
central
other
to stuff like that,
other stuff.
So yeah, it's something that we'd like to bring back. And I've talked to some people about it already, but you know, as time moves forward, we have a plan and everything in its proper order. And so at a certain point in the future, we will be relaunching it. And when we do, I think it'll be pretty obvious at that point, you know, why we maybe waited till then to do it. But yeah, we'll that's something that's really we'll focus on more for the future. In the meantime, I mean, that we're not saying don't go run games for people. You know, that's part of the reason why we're putting out, you know, like a Titan Robotics intro adventure, and there's going to be a tMNT intro adventure, and go to cons. One of my buddies, John Watson, he's been running Nightbane, right? So in Texas cons, like he was just at the Long Con, and you know, if you need some prize support for that, please reach out to us on a one-on-one basis. You know,
you can reach us through the help desk or
so
call the office.
So you know, but yeah, in the meantime, we don't have anything official. And when we relaunch it, we'd like to do it in style, so, and not, you know, half measures. So.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm not going to grill you with any more questions on that. I've seen it on your forums. Again, I'm getting chat from like all the venues that I'm streaming to right now where people are asking about it, but I'm going to say hold off on those questions. Ask Kevin and Sean directly.
If you want to do something, you can. I mean, there's nothing. If people are excited to show off Palladium games and run them at cons, go do it.
Yes, please.
Like, don't talk about it, just do it. Like, you know, I you know, there was no program. But when even just. I think before I even started writing for Savage Rifts, I was running stuff at cons. So, I mean, just do it. Like, if you love playing, go run games.
Yeah. And talk about it, you know, talk about your positive experiences and what you like about our books online and in the chat rooms and whatever.
Yeah, that's what it's about, is just being genuine, excited.
Setting lore and cinematic gameplay style. Those are my two things that I love about all Palladium books. Right, so simplify that.
We're gonna keep. One of the things is we are going to keep doing intro adventures with a lot of our major releases. So that hopefully will give you more and more material that you could take out and easily run at a con, right? And that's an intentional focus to build up that library of introductory adventures and characters.
Awesome. Let's do our second giveaway. Let's see who else can get a Palladium $75 gift certificate. Ooh. That doesn't. I keep forgetting that it makes me do that, and then I have to share it again because StreamYard is weird. And now can I get it almost full screen? There we go. All right, as you can see that Shaka already won. Okay, there's Randy from Biggest Geekus. His name should be removed from the list. Yep, I don't. So, no, he's still on the bottom. Well, I'm going to remove him then.
Remove.
So it was supposed to automatically do that, but you know. All right, so he's gone. There you go. He's gone. He's not there anymore. And we are going to do this again. 15 seconds. Let's see who wins. Doot, 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 doot. There you go. And the winner is somebody I don't know. Sly. Oh wait, what? SLY Sly Blue. Oh, Sly Blue Demon. Okay. I'm not sure I saw that person on my Discord, but we're gonna find out. $75 gift certificate. So there you go, Sly Blue Demon. If you're watching, congratulations. If you're not watching, well, you get a message on my Discord and with the information after I buy the gift certificate. So, Dr. Vile, I see you in chat still. I'm not going to ask your question because the quick answer is this. They're not going to talk about future products. So I don't want to waste their time anymore on this. The last thing I want to do is...
What were they asking about?
Combine the 3 Heroes Unlimited Power books into one big one.
No, I'm not talking about anything like that. Yep. I'm just curious what people are curious about, but...
I got you.
Yeah.
Something for everybody to know. This live stream isn't going to be taken down after the live stream, unlike normal. This is going to be up in perpetuity, and the reason being is because there's 60 hours, 48 hours plus left of the Kickstarter, and I want this out there. So the last thing I want to do, we did the giveaway, is we're going to change topics one more time, and we're going to promote Kevin for just a moment. So Sean, go away. No, there we go. Kevin's Arts and Collectibles. I saw that this was in the recent update. So what is new and interesting here for folks to look at? And I'm going to put a link to this actually right now in the channels so people can check it out for themselves. Here we go. I think I'm on page 4 because I was looking through it. Hold on.
Yeah, it's just a little web store that I have where I'm selling, some of my old toy collection. Right now, you're looking at a bunch of different collectibles and various pieces of art that are being sold. My old A+ comic book, some gold foil editions that are signed. A lot of those books will have, a dragon sketch in them and that kind of thing. And, just a bunch of fun little odds and ends, collectibles.
If you get through here, you find proofs in here too. Like, I don't know if he does it on purpose, but you really have to kind of go through each page because you'd be like, oh, that's in the middle of toys or whatever. All of a sudden be like the first ever proof of whatever. I might want that, So be sure to check those pages out and don't think that that doesn't seem like there's any more books because you hit page 5 over here and all of a sudden you're like, well, look at those toys or look at this Rift's Dinosaur Swamp signed photocopy from 2004. So
those are proofreader copies. Yep. And Alex runs the site for me, so I don't know if it's exactly why things are organized the way they are, or whether it's just eBay or.
It's probably eBay.
But yeah, there's a lot of little things. Like there were a number of negatives in there, and that kind of thing. But and you get to see my eclectic tastes. So
anybody who's been to the office knows. I mean, Kevin is quite the collector. So it's really interesting what you might find in here.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure we shout it out because you had that in the weekly update to take a look at it.
Yeah.
And with that, we also have. There we go. We have the sales. Now, you've seen people in chat say a few times the Christmas surprise package sale, but there's a lot more than that on sale. But let's take a look at this Christmas surprise package first. And for folks who don't know what it is, it's really easy to fill out. You put in here. Now, I don't know how other people do it. I always put the book name and the number. I don't know if that's necessary, but I just,
we appreciate that, though. Yep.
Okay. So I put the book name and number in here, give him at least 10. Sometimes it's really hard. There's only 6 that I want, and I hope he doesn't give me these last 4, but I got to have 10. So put 10 in there. I always say t-shirt, but that's how I got this t-shirt. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. Put the Borg on there. It's like he knew. But favorite Palladium games and games you'd like to try. That's all it is. And if you want them to autograph, who the hell would click no?
There's always a few people.
Yeah.
That's right. So, comments and suggestions. The best comment and suggestion apparently is to put in there how much you love Legion of Myth, and Legion of Myth got you back into Rifts. There we go. Or whichever game you play. But that's it. That's all.
We do like to read that, so keep it reasonable, but but yeah, we love to read that. It's a great way to share what you're excited about, or let us know what you're thinking, or other ideas you might have. So, and
if you're lucky, you'll get that snippet put up on the weekly update because you guys usually put 4 or 5 of them up there as well.
Yeah, so response to it, or
more like 8 or 10. Yeah.
What? So William Silva asks, well, I know you don't talk about future products, but my curiosity, have these Kickstarters made you bold enough to look to your lesser known IPs?
As in
for what? For more Kickstarters?
in general, we are planning on doing more in the future.
Yeah, we plan on doing more Kickstarters. We plan on doing more for all of our game lines. Our main focus are going to be on the top 4 or 5, which is, of course, Rifts, Palladium Fantasy, Heroes Unlimited, Beyond the Supernatural.
Yeah, and if you go to the Palladium books website, we have the project status page, which needs to be updated. But we we're focused on those books. A lot of those are the books that when we talk about that only Kevin can write some of those books, right? Because he has very specific ideas and things that he's working on for those. So yeah, we're absolutely those are our priorities. But once we get past that, that's what Kevin's talking about. Those are our general priorities. But yeah, we want to make sure that we're coming out with new stuff for everything that we can.
Yeah, Ninja and Super Spies, Nightbane. We want to support the whole After the Bomb.
Yeah,
we want to support the whole line. I start to add game lines because when you mention just 4, people are like, oh, so you're never going to do anything for Nightbane or After the Bomb, and it's like, no, I just didn't mention it. We have like 12 different world settings.
So yeah.
And unfortunately, not 12 different authors working on one book a month, right?
Bingo.
Right. But any Palladium success helps fuel the rest of the books coming out. So that's always great. And so we are working to very carefully update our production.
And then you're showing a bunch of different Palladium products. That's because we have our Black Friday sale actually started on Wednesday, because we know people are very distracted and focused on all kinds of Black Friday sales.
Mm-hmm.
And so our Black Friday sale runs through Cyber Monday and in fact goes on till Wednesday. So people who haven't had a chance to grab stuff, can do so.
Yep. So after you back tMNT on Tuesday, latest, you can still do the Black Friday the next day.
And this looks like
after that you can get the Christmas surprise package.
That's right, because the Christmas surprise package offer runs till Christmas Eve.
And I might be mistaken on this, but because there's another page of product. Is this like everything? Is everything on?
It's not everything. It's almost everything.
Okay.
It's like I think all Rifts products, all Palladium products, Heroes Unlimited, After the Bomb. I don't think all of our horror titles were there. I don't think like Systems Failure or Mechanoids isn't part of it, but it's the majority. Yeah, most of our stuff is on
You'll
sale.
find something you want.
Yeah.
So I've never asked Kevin this. I asked it to Sean. I can't remember if it's on Bear Stream or a previous stream of mine. I'm just going to bring it up because I can now. This cover, we joke about this cover a lot. And the reason we joke about it is because those of us who have read Dragonlance feel that this scene right here was literally ripped right from one of the Dragonlance books. The King Priest with the Dragon Orb and Cyan Bloodbane behind him. Now, if it's not true, if that isn't what it was originally for, there's just such a weird coincidence there. But
I'm not familiar with
Dragonlance.
So.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, that's also what got me to buy the book when I first bought it many years ago. Not because I thought it was Dragonlance, but I was like, oh, wow, he's a fan of Dragonlance. Oh, this has got to be an homage or something. So I got it. But anybody who's read Dragonlance knows the scene that I'm talking about. And yeah, it looks like it could have been pulled right from the novel.
Well, maybe the artist was influenced by it. I don't know.
Could be. Just had to ask. All right, let's get this off the screen. Thank you very much, for what you do with these sales and for the Christmas surprise package. I know we get a lot of comments saying, make sure that this is the last time you're on. We were like, hey, you can do the Christmas surprise package. Like, oh crap, yeah, we are. And I know they're always putting pictures of the stuff that they get on our Discord. Like, hey, this is what I got from the surprise package. Cool. Yes. So I know people are, and I know I'm going to get 1 or 2 more if my wife allows me to have a credit card still. So. And then I thought there was one more thing I wanted to talk about, but that's all I can think about right now. Let's look at the Kickstarter one more time so that you guys don't have to spend your entire day here. And we're at present.
Well, it's like perfect timing because it's almost 5.
Ooh. All right. We're at 1,019,000. What was it? Like 1,008,000 when we started?
Yeah, it was only it crossed the 1 million mark this morning around 8, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, that's I think it's starting to accelerate as we approach.
You guys, it's you chat. It's all you. It's because every one of you did this. I don't care. Anybody watching?
Oh, it is y'all. Yeah.
Never underestimate word of mouth for real.
No, it's been amazing, the support of the fans.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the update. I do, as normal, it won't be 6 hours, but I would like to talk to you guys after the stream for just a moment. A couple messages I didn't get to give you
And if
beforehand.
there's any more messages, yeah, we're happy to answer any more questions that the fans might have. That aren't,
I did star a couple more things from chat that I want to make sure I do. So that one I wasn't going to ask. So actually, there's only one from a gentleman I think you know, Francois Dossier. Oh, I'm sorry. This was about the ambassador program. So we don't have to ask this right now. So let me get off this thing. So, and I did the wrong one. So there we go. All right. So I do thank everybody. If I didn't put your question up here, it isn't because I don't like you. It's because I didn't think it was appropriate for what we're covering here. Also, we could spend 9 hours on just answering everybody's questions. And, we've taken up a lot of their time. Kevin, Sean, if there's any final words of wisdom or advice or thanks or whatever you want to give to folks, go ahead and do that now. Else I'm about to run the end song here, and we'll end this. I want to thank everybody. I'm going to give them the last word. I want to thank everybody. You all have been wonderful. The chat's been just going. We've got a bunch of people watching. Please back this. Please pass on. The last 48 hours, I know it says 54, but last 48 hours of the campaign are like the most telling or the best. So help get the word out there. Help get this project to, what's the last Kickstarter or stretch goal? 1.4. Let's get it to 1.4 million. I know that's we can do it.
We can add more.
$2 million. $2 million.
So far, so yeah. No, I mean, do you have anything you want to say?
I just, Max kind of said it all. I mean, thank you so much for your support and your passion for this project, and we appreciate every one of you guys out there. We love our fans. This is what we do this stuff for. So we're glad you're enjoying it, and thank you so much. Spread the word. Yeah, the last 48 hours can be huge. So fingers crossed. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people are asking about a lot of stuff that's very expansive, right? I can't. I just want to say I'm just more pleased than ever to be at Palladium, be working with Kevin, to be working with all these great creatives on this project. Really excited for everyone. Really glad everyone's enjoying all the previews and everything else that we're putting out, and being understanding and patient with us, because I wish I had a magic wand to wave to make everything happen the way I want it to, but and
instantly,
right, and we got to walk before we can run, crawl before you can walk, right? So Rome wasn't built in a day. There's a few phrases to throw out there, but Francois asked about the ambassador program again in recognition, and we want to get all those things back up and strong and running, and have Palladium be bigger and better than ever before. But just be patient as we carefully navigate our way through this. I know the tMNT thing. I mean, this surprised a lot of people. Just when it was announced, and now you can see Kevin and I had a pretty good sense of what might be a good next step secret project. It's even surprised us, and with how successful it's been. But please do have faith that we are working towards the end goal of having Palladium more resplendent than ever, and as strong as ever. So Kevin's legacy and the legacy of creatives like Eric Wujcik is absolutely constantly on my mind, and I'm excited to be part of the new generation of stuff coming out. So,
and I want to add to that. I want to thank Sean, because this project would not be possible without Sean right now. So
thanks to both of you guys.
Yeah, so just we appreciate everyone's support, and if you see something that you think could be a little better, see what you can do as a fan, right? On that level right now, because we're just really focused and hard charging on the really everything that we can be for critical stuff. And just stay tuned. We got a lot of great big plans. So
absolutely.
All right, sounds great. Thanks again to everybody, and I hope everybody has a wonderful day.